Yes, welcome to Football Heritage TV. There will be four of us in a minute. I promise Will is going to join, and then hopefully I'll be able to put Will in the Will box and Has in the Has box, because everybody gets their own little box on this show. Big up to absolutely everyone in the chat already. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday evening. Welcome. Stel, how are we doing? You good? You well?
Yeah, I'm good. Spurs are doing all right. I'm doing all right. A bit gutted we're not playing this weekend, but maybe the break will be a good thing. Hopefully get a couple of players back ready for the big FA Cup game against City. But yeah, good to see you. Good to see Has. And I'll say hello to Will now before he comes on.
Yeah, good. Has, you've been away. You've been just telling us some of the things you got up to. How are you, mate? You well?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Back after a 2-week hiatus. I'm back here. Managed to catch up with the Tottenham games out in Thailand, but yeah, it's good to be back on the show. Let's crack on with it. Let's see what we've got to talk about tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And in case anyone out there was wondering, I am also well. I am doing fine. So thanks for asking, lads. I am very well. Big up to absolutely everyone. Look, unfortunately, Spurs haven't got a game this weekend. We did play last weekend. We'll touch upon that. The Man United game. We've got Man City in the Cup next weekend. Since we last did one of these shows, Tottenham Hotspur have signed. We've signed Dragoshin. Tottenham Hotspur have allowed Eric Dyer to go to Bayern Munich. Tanganga has gone to Millwall. I hope he knows what he's let himself in for. Reguilon's gone to Brentford. There's talks about Højbjerg still leaving this football club. Brian Hill is saying that he's going to stay and fight for his place, which will be great news. I'm sure Will be well excited about that one. There's talks about Ko Itakura. Apparently, we're looking at him. Postecoglou wanted him back when he was at Celtic. There's talks about Hayden Hackney. There's talks about Wharton. There's talks about Jonathan Rowe from Norwich. It's all happening, guys. It is all happening. And let me first of all see if I can bring Will in, see if I can swap these two around. Boom. Will, how you doing?
Other than getting my times mixed up, I'm doing good.
That's all right, man. Listen, we all get the time wrong every now and then. We all get the time wrong. It's good. It's good. It's good. Look, guys, let's crack on. As we said, we've got a lot going on without any games. But look, before we move to signings and Levy and FFP and all this kind of good stuff, let's touch upon the Man United game that's just gone. Let me start with you, Stel. Man United away, doesn't matter if they're playing well or not, is still Old Trafford, is still a difficult place to go to. Happy with the point? Disappointed not to come away with all three? What did you make of the whole situation?
Happy with the point based on what I thought before kickoff, where I looked at their squad, their midfield, starting 11, and I looked at ours, no Kulu, no Lo Celso, both injured or ill. So it meant Højbjerg skip starting. That concerned me. Then the front three that I'm not impressed by. We can have this argument as fans as much as we like. I don't like Timo Werner. I don't like Brennan Johnson. Fair play, Richie is scoring some close range headers and tap-ins. Goals are goals. That's fine. But
yeah,
when I then looked at the bench, we had nothing on the bench except for a new signing that we don't know much about. And there was no experience on that bench. It was just, well, Chicken Royale, but he's not great. It was just kids. I look at their bench. Anthony, whether you think he's good or not, he's experienced. McTominay, he's scored goals for them this year. They had Casemiro. They had some experience on the bench. We had nothing. So before kickoff, I thought, if Man United don't beat us, they should be embarrassed. So to get a draw, I can't complain. But after watching the way the game panned out, looking at the way the game was played, for me, I think we screwed it up. We should have got 3 points. If we're an ambitious club that wants to succeed, we should have got 3 points. At the end of the day, and I've had this argument with many a person, so Timo Werner had 4 chances to score. Onana is in goal. Not once did Timo Werner hit the target. 2 chances, it's inexcusable not to test the goalie. There is no excuse. One of the chances was difficult, so I can't really have a go at him. Another one was long range, but he smashes it into the roof of the stand behind the goal. So if Timo Werner was able to strike a ball properly and just hit the target once, maybe it goes in, we win the game. Fair enough, McTominay should have scored at the end, but we hit the post, they hit the post. I think overall, if just Kulusevski was playing or Son, I think we win that game because they're not missing all those chances. So before the game, I would have taken a point. Having watched the game and the way it played out, I'm gutted, man. I honestly think we missed an opportunity to grab 3 points. So I'm somewhere in the middle, Savva, with that game. I'm happy, but I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because we kind of had chances, but without anything really clear cut. As Stel said, there were a couple of when Werner went through and you thought, come on, you've at least got to test the goalkeeper. Other than that, we didn't really create a lot, but dominated. I mean, we did dominate the game really from I think the first 7-8 minutes. I thought United came out the blocks quite quickly and then regressed. We pinned them in. And how would you assess our performance at Old Trafford?
Well, going to Old Trafford, and as Stel said, being disappointed with not picking up all 3 points, that tells you the story, right? Because I think we played absolutely fantastic at times. Our one-touch passing was amazing. The speed with which we can get into the opposition half, into the penalty box, and getting into attacking positions was great. Everything was great, bar the finishing, basically. And I wasn't happy with the 2 goals that we conceded. One of them was a bit fortunate to fall in the path of Rashford. But apart from that, I thought some of our play was excellent, despite not having our first team players in the team. I thought we showed urgency. It just was toothless, man. We was toothless. If you look at the likes of Brennan Johnson, honestly, if I was a man with hair, if I wasn't follically challenged, I would have lost my hair by now. I would have been like, bang, 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 hair's gone, He was so frustrating to watch that game. Honest to God, I was like, Brennan, what are you doing? But in terms of Timo Werner, right, I'm going to give him another couple of games. I do hear what Stel's saying. He skied a couple of shots, and you're thinking, Jesus Christ, Timo, come on, man, this ain't you. Like RB Leipzig, before he come over to Chelsea, right? He was fantastic. He was scoring some goals for fun. But I'm going to give him a couple more games. He did get an assist. He made some good runs. He pressed quite a lot. His speed is still there as well. He was chasing the ball down and everything. I thought he did okay in his first game. I'm not going to big him up too much because he needs to show a bit of end product. But for me, the biggest factor in that game was the one-touch passing and the fact that you can see Angie's actually coaching these players rather than just playing them positionally and saying, right, you got to do this, because it's out of necessity. But you can see they're being coached, so it's good.
Yeah. I think lots of fans of other clubs are saying that they can see what he's doing as well. I mean, Will, on the Timo Werner point, my brother-in-law, who's a Chelsea season ticket holder, messaged me after the game and said, yeah, that's Timo Werner. Like, you're going to see really good bits. You're going to see him press. You're going to see him run. He's quick. He's going to get in positions. But 9 times out of 10, he's going to frustrate the hell out of you. Is that how you felt? I don't want to be too harsh on him. He's had one game. But is that how you feel about him as a footballer in general, Will? That he's not the worst player, but he is a frustrating player to watch?
Yeah, I mean, he's. I don't think he's a bad footballer in general, but he's not the best shooter. Right? So he's not good at finishing. So look, I mean, my expectations on him coming in were low anyway, right? I didn't think he was a good signing in the first place. So I'm not expecting him to do well. So was I upset with his performance? No. But he did the aspects that I was expecting, which was creating assists, right? Creating chances for other people. And for me, I think that's what we'll need going forward. In the short term, we need him to score goals, but I don't think he will. So it's kind of like, it's like, if you've got low expectations, do you really get upset when they meet your low expectations? I mean, yeah,
no. Will, you're absolutely right, because this is what I keep having the chat with everyone about Brennan Johnson. When people keep telling me he'll come good, I'm like, well, hang on, I'm not expecting it. I didn't like what I saw beforehand. I don't like what I see now. I'm not expecting it. So I hear you. But what's good for him, Will? What's good? Like, between now and the end of the season, we've got 17 league games, 1 FA Cup game, stroke a few more if we beat Man City. What's good for him?
I would say if he comes out at, say, the end of the season, last game of the season, and he's got 2 goals and 6 assists, I'll be happy.
Right.
Unexpected.
Yeah. Right. Listen, Stel, I'll come to you just before I do. Breaking news in the world of football. Troy Deeney, not in the Premier League, has just been sacked after 6 games as the Forest Green Rovers manager. Somebody's messaged it to me. I thought they were joking. I've just Googled it. And I don't think it helped that at the weekend he absolutely blasted all of his players and got a 4-game touchline ban. So Troy Deeney, that's got to be some sort of record for a permanent managerial appointment. But yeah, still, look, Timo Werner aside, I think let's talk about that front three, because that is where for me we broke down. I thought that, to be fair to them, as much as I don't rate Højbjerg and I don't rate Skip, it was a game we dominated, right? We dominated the ball. Whenever it got into the final third, though, I just never felt that anything was truly going to be created. And I know the stats will say 16 shots and 6 on target, but if you rack your brain really, we didn't really have anything. That front three is a problem, right? That front three, and 2 of those are players he's just brought in. That front three is a problem. I know Son's got to come back into it, but it's a problem, right? That they're in our squad.
I think we've completely fucked up, if I'm honest, right? And I'll explain it with logic. If you look at the back line, we've brought in Udogie. He's an upgrade on Sessegnon and Sergio Reguilón. We brought in Van der Ven. He's an upgrade. And we brought in Dragusin. They're both upgrades on Dyer and Davies. We've brought in Pedro Porro. He's a massive upgrade on Emerson Royale at right back. We've brought in Vicario. He's a massive upgrade on Lloris. We've brought in Maddison. He's a massive upgrade on Lucas Moura. We've brought in Pape Sarr. He's an upgrade on Skip and Højbjerg. You now look at the front three. Under Ange, we've brought in Timo Werner, Solomon, Veliz, and Brennan Johnson. How are they an upgrade on what we had before? None of them are an upgrade on Bryan Hill. You might argue, no, they're a bit better. I think it's the same nonsense. None of them are an upgrade as a wide player on Kulusevski. Veliz isn't an upgrade on Son or Richie, because Richie's scoring goals. Richie came before Ange. So why don't I look at goalie, defence, midfield? Everything we've done has been good because it's all an upgrade.
Yeah.
When I look at the attacking players we brought in under Ange, Solomon, Werner, Brennan, Veliz. Veliz, I don't know. I haven't seen enough. But just based on what we've seen.
Yep.
We've failed to upgrade on what we had. And this, for me, is the problem. I think we've regressed with the players we brought in. None of them are an upgrade on Perisic, by the way. Perisic is 10 times better than Brennan, Timo, and Solomon. So where is the upgrades in the attacking lineup? But when I say this stuff, all hell breaks loose. I'm public enemy number 1. Shoot him. Rome wasn't built in a day. It wasn't built in a day, but we sold Harry Kane for £100 million. And we've replaced him with what? Solomon, Veliz, Timo, Brennan. For me, I just think when it comes to the forward line, between Ange, Levy, Paratici, the data analytics, Scott Munn, Jonathan Land, between the departments that buy the player, I think they've just lost the plot. They've got this badly wrong. It's okay to get it wrong. Everyone signs a dud. Pep Guardiola has signed duds. I just think we've got it wrong. And it's going to cost us until Son and Kulu come back, because we saw it against Burnley. We couldn't score against Burnley. So until Son and Kulu come back, I'm worried about the forward line. Maybe Richie will keep getting some more headers and tap-ins and we get away with it. I don't know, but...
So, look, listen, I don't agree with you. Sorry. I don't disagree with you. Sorry, that came out wrong. I'm used to saying I don't agree with you still. I don't disagree with you on that. Look, we do. Big up Iggy, by the way. Big up Iggy. Love that hat. Looking sexy, my man. We do have Kulusevski back for Man City away next weekend. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into Man City. We'll talk about it a bit later. But does he come straight back in for the team? Yes, I would say is the answer. Does he come straight back in the attacking midfield role, or does he go straight back out on the wing and Brennan Johnson goes to the left, or Brennan Johnson drops to the bench? After all of that, you've answered that. Do you think we've made a bit of a problem here for ourselves? That, as Stel said, we seem to have bought a lot of players who are all kind of like the same stature. There's no one there that you go, God, he's good. Aren't we just about to fill it with a lot of average players in and around Son? Because Son's up there, the rest are down here, right? I think we all know that.
Son's levels above anything we've got. Levels.
I agree. So are we creating a bit of a problem for ourselves there, Has?
First of all, I'll answer your question with regards to Kulusevski. I think he is going to come in. If the manager's seeing what we're seeing, he can't be happy with Brennan Johnson's performance. So I think he comes in on the right. He'll be happy enough with what the midfield produced against Manchester United. So I think he'll stick with that midfield, if I'm being honest with you. So I think everything stays the same. Kulusevski comes in place of Brennan Johnson. I think he should be a substitute, if I'm being honest. Timo probably will start. Or he may choose to drop Timo and play Brennan Johnson on the left. Whatever anyone thinks of Brennan Johnson on the left. Is he any better on the left than he's on the right? I don't know. I haven't seen much to suggest that he is, but yeah, look, I think in terms of what Stel was saying about the front three, Valise, you can't really judge him yet. He's too young. He hasn't been given a chance. I'm not saying he's going to be the replacement for Kane, but he was very much brought in as sort of one for the future, maybe in a couple of years' time or whatever it is. Timo Werner, loan signing. He's not a replacement for Kane. He's a stopgap for Son. Let's call it for what it is. If he were to be a replacement for Kane, I'd be very worried. The replacement for me was Richarlison when we brought him in, whilst Kane was still at the club.
I agree.
That was the long-term replacement for Kane, and henceforth, that's how it is now. So I still think maybe in the summer we'll go in for a big striker. For this season, I think it's a transitional period. We're looking at sort of Ange implementing his style and his system. And we're not having to rely on one player like Kane. Because let's be honest, last season and for the past 8 seasons, we've always relied on Kane. Kane. A bit of Son sprinkled here and there, but mostly Kane. This season, we're relying on a team performance and a big performance from Son. So when Son doesn't perform, obviously it gets highlighted and picked up more because he's the one who we expect to pick it up and drag the team to where it needs to be. Mm-hmm. Whether that's fair or not, it's up to your assessment. But look, I think we'll sort out the front three one thing at a time. Defensively, I think we've sorted out for the rest of the season with Dragushin coming in. I think that's a very good signing. But yeah, look, I think we've got to give some of these players, we've got to cut some of these players a bit slack. At the end of the day, Brennan Johnson come in. I wasn't the biggest fan of the signing, but he's here now. The price tag he didn't dictate, but it is what it is. You know, what can you do?
Yeah. Look,
sorry. Name one player we've signed under Ange in the front three that's an upgrade on what we had for that same position.
In the front three?
Yeah.
Well, Werner, where did Werner play the last game?
Where Perisic would play.
Right, okay, so he wasn't signed as a striker, was he?
No.
Or he wasn't played as a striker.
No. Timo plays as a left forward, so he would effectively be an upgrade on Perisic. Is he an upgrade? I don't think he is.
What, on Perisic?
Yeah.
I think Perisic's time is up. So now you've got to say it is an upgrade.
I mean, Perisic before he got injured, he was doing well for us, right? So is he an upgrade on what Perisic was offering us?
No, not in terms of his crossing and his ability. No.
Right. So Timo's a no. Is Brennan Johnson an upgrade on Kulu, who was playing outright?
You've got to look at it like this. Who's available in the market right now? Are we expected to go out and pay 50 million? Yeah, but are we in January? Are we expected to, as Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, can we do what Chelsea, United,
yes. Last summer we spent 45 million on Porro last January.
Yeah, but we needed 100. Look, with Porro,
and now with the FFP Kings, we've got this financial power over everyone, right? I see what you're trying to say. It's hard to do business sometimes. Do we have money? All I'm saying is, but Brennan Johnson we bought in the summer. Valise we bought in the summer. Solomon we bought in the summer. Timo's the only one we brought in now. My argument is this: of the 4 forward players we have signed, whether they come good or not, as it stands, are any of them an upgrade or at least matching the positions they've come in to take from other players. I think it's a no.
Not at the moment. It is a no. At the moment, it's a no.
And that's my argument, Has. Yeah, in midfield and defence, we've nailed it. I don't get why when it comes to the forward line, we've lost the plot.
Why are we expecting to sort out everything within 6 months of Ange being there?
No, but I think. Sorry, can I just say? I think the difference is though is what Stel is saying. He'll tell me if I'm wrong. Is if we can go and find upgrades on the centre halves, if we can go and find upgrades on the fullbacks, and we can go and find upgrades on the midfielders, why is it whenever it comes to a striker or a winger, we keep buying these I'm completely paraphrasing here still. Why is it we keep going and buying these very average wingers and forwards and finding excuses for them? But then people will say it's different. If it's different, we're still doing in those areas. And let's be fair, those areas, right, Has, those areas, that's what wins you games. Yeah, that's what wins your titles. Having players, dangerous players in those areas. And Stel's right. You think the 5 forwards we've signed under Postecoglou is Kulu, who was, already there, but he had to sign it off. Valise, Werner, Johnson, and I think I'm missing one. That's Solomon. Are you telling me as Spurs Football Club we can't do better than those 5 forwards that we've just bought?
Of course we can. But we've just had an outlay on Dragushin. I know people are going to say, 27 million is not much, this, that, and the other. But we've sorted out the defensive issues. We've sorted out sort of the midfield issues. Son's going to come back from the Asia Games at some point in the next few weeks. So he's going to revert back to his role in the left wing. And you'd imagine Richarlison's going to play through the centre. So for this season, okay, we've got Kulu, Son, and Richarlison as your main front 3. Mm-hmm. Quite clearly, Werner, as much as I'm not his biggest fan, he's been brought in to replace Son for the time being whilst he's away. That's how I see it. I don't see him as a long-term replacement. I don't see him as someone that we're going to go for and pay whatever his release fee is, 16, 17 million at the end of the season. I don't think we will do that unless he starts turning into a prime Ronaldo. Again,
if Werner's a replacement for Son's biggest skill set is scoring goals. He's been our top scorer for a couple. He's always been one of our top scorers.
Yeah, but Richarlison started scoring goals now, so we need someone on the left. No,
but you're saying he's a replacement for Son. Son scores goals. So if Werner doesn't score goals, how is he replacing Son?
Yeah, but okay, maybe replacing is not the word. Maybe as cover then. Is that the right word?
Okay,
yeah, cover would be the right word.
He's a massive downgrade on the cover then. I would say he's a massive downgrade on the cover.
Okay, who would you have gone in for?
If we signed someone that came in where, do you know what it is, Has? I'll tell you what it comes down to.
I'm just trying to be realistic. That's all.
No, I get it. No, it's good. It's good to have different opinions. To hell with agreeing with each other. If we signed just one forward player, whether it was Timo Werner, Brennan Villiers, just one of them, and I said to myself, oi. Like when we signed Maddison, I was like, oi. You know, when Udogie came in after a couple of games, I'm like, hello, who's this? When we sign certain players, you kind of get a vibe. I haven't felt that for any of the forward players we've brought to this club under Ange. I don't blame Ange, by the way, on this. He's got to take some blame. Something in the club, they're scared of just going for it in that forward area. And I don't know what it is. Like to sign 4 and not one of them to be an exciting type player. I don't know what it is, but I just feel that they've kind of lost the plot a bit on this area for some reason. Maybe they fix it in the summer. I don't know.
Yeah, well, let me bring Will in here before we do, guys and girls. Smash that like button. Come on. I feel like whenever I'm on a show with anybody else that isn't Spurs fans, the like button gets smashed a lot. I have to ask for it. Come on, we've got 91 likes and over 348 of you in here. So smash that like button, please. Please subscribe to Tottenham Away. Subscribe to Southview Coys as well. And just before I come to you, Will, just really, really quickly, Immortal Worm has become a YouTube member. So big up. I don't know if this is somebody that's always been in here with a different name now, but big up to you. Haven't seen you around before. So big up to the Immortal Worm. And thank you so much for your support. Really do appreciate it. Dave Aiden, who I think is an account to piss off Stel, has said, Werner is amazing. Stel is a rookie. He's followed that up by saying, Werner drew the game. Stel's point is invalid because Werner played on the wing ran the whole game, so finishing will suffer. If he plays striker, he scores hat-trick.
That's the most deluded thing you could have said.
He's right on the hornet's nest. He's right on the hornet's nest.
Like, no, at the end of the day, if you want to give your money to
Zoom in on him. Zoom in on Stel, come on.
€5, €2, €10.
Keep abusing Stel as long as you're putting money in the super chats, and then I'll give some of the money to Stel later. I listen. This one I just had to bring up. I had to. Don't have a go at me, guys. Jay Son has said Savva has high expectation of Richie, but says he is crap. I'm going to stop you at Richie. Savva has absolutely no expectations of Richarlison. Definitely not high expectations of Richarlison. Will, I'll come to you on all of this. Look, it is tough, isn't it? Because we have sorted out so many areas where we look good. We look strong. We look like we've got some depth in centre mid. We look like we've got depth at centre half now and full-backs we can cover. But it is that front three. Now, let's assume that Son is fit. Let's assume Son is fit in the team. He's not away on international duty. Son plays. Is there much of a muchness from all of the other wingers who are at this football club, Will, or strikers, depending on what you want to call Valisa and Richarlison? Is it much of a muchness as to who should start with him? And are there two prime candidates that you go, him and him, without hesitation?
I mean, not without hesitation. For me, I don't want to see Kulusevski play on the wing at all. I want to see him be depth
Agreed.
for Maddison. Personally, like if I was the manager, that's the route that I would go. I think we need to sign 2 actual wingers this summer. I think that should be a priority. For me, if I were to go sign 3 players this summer, it would be another midfielder, a Bissouma, Bentancur-esque type of a player. Bentancur, obviously, injuries lately. He's been getting that. Bissouma is, getting suspended every other game. So for me, that's the position that I would be looking at. Obviously, Højbjerg can't play in this system, so he needs to go sooner rather than later. And then we need to go out and sign 2 real wingers. For me, Richarlison sits on the bench and Son plays as striker for now.
Yep.
That's the way that I look at it. So I mean, who would I start if everybody was fit for the City game? Who would I play? I'd play Werner on the left, Son down the middle, and I mean, you'd have to go with Brennan John. Yeah, over Solomon.
Some won't be back. Will he for the City game?
No, he won't be back.
No. Unless I think they have to get them knocked out their group, right? And I looked at their group and I can't see anything but 3 South Korea wins there. So I don't know if anyone else has seen the group. It looks very much like they should go through. Just quickly, by the way, there's some breaking news as well that Girona, who are second in La Liga, by the way, have asked Celtic about Matt O'Reilly. That will really piss me off because I really like Matt O'Reilly. I think he'd be absolutely brilliant in a Postecoglou system. But yeah, we'll look. It's crazy, isn't it, that for all of if you look at all of those players we just mentioned, again, I'm removing Son. If we look at Kulu as a wide player, Brennan Johnson, Brian Hill, Timo Werner, Valise, Richarlison. Before that, it was Lucas Moura, Bergwijn. It's almost like in that area, since Son and Kane, or Kane obviously came for the youth team, since we signed Son, it's like we're allergic to going out there and buying a big name forward or a really top player that you say complements Son and obviously Kane when he was here. Is this becoming an issue, Will, that we've got fans that want to talk about winning things. We talk about how we want to challenge. But then when fans like Stel and I mentioned, right, well, you need the next level of player, it's, oh, no, give them a chance. They're good. You're horrible to them. Like in the chat, all I'm saying is, oh, Richie's good. He's come good. You're all in the mud. And I'm like, you're not winning things with Richarlison in your team.
Well,
who are we
why
kidding,
has he come
Will?
good yet?
Because
he has more goals than Gabriel Jesus. Ooh.
Yeah. Something like that. I mean, but is that a problem, Will? We never seem to go and get a top talented winger or striker. We constantly get in this average bracket and we're picking from in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, we haven't signed. I mean, right now I'd have Steven Bergwijn back at this point. I think out of all the ones that we signed, he's probably the better one. We haven't signed anybody of quality up front in a long time. I've been saying that for years now, ever since we went in for Brian Hill. And I mean, looks like we're going to sell him to Sevilla now for about €8 million, and we paid 25 plus. What's his name?
Lamela. Yeah.
Lamela for him.
Yeah.
So I mean, Lamela was probably £19 million at the time valuation. So, I mean, that's dang near 40 million pound, and we got what out of it? A couple memes. I mean, that's about it. So it's expensive memes.
Yeah. Well, look, guys. So let's move this. And I don't mind who goes first with this one. Let's move it towards the Man City game before we talk about transfer activity. Look, we have got Man City in our next game. I think it's 8 days away. It's next Friday, isn't it? So eight days until we play. Talk that James and Maddison could be fit and back, but I always question how fit is someone going to be when they haven't played for 3 months. We're going to likely be going in with a similar forward line, maybe Kulu out wide. What are the expectations against Man City? Are we confident that we can beat them? I know we've done well against them in games in the past, but they're the most informed team in Europe right now. They're the most informed team in the country. We've got big players missing. What are we thinking, guys? What are we thinking about Man City in the Cup?
I think best case scenario is or what I would be happy with is drawing and getting the game pushed back to a replay until we get, more guys back. I'd be happy with that. But there is a little bit of voodoo going on at that stadium against Man City. Logic says that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to repeat itself, but at least it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable than it would. But I mean, for me, I think that'd be a good result. Get a draw, push it back to a replay, and then everybody's back, and then you can have a go at it. But
I think you've got to look at it from the point of view, though. Sorry, Savva. Is the FA Cup one of our priorities this season? That's the way you've got to look at it. Is this game just a free hit? Are we expected to get anything from this game? Are we going to go for it? Experience dictates that Ange will probably field a strong side, but
let me throw that back at you. I'm not saying you've said it isn't, but why would let's play devil's advocate? Why wouldn't it be a priority for us? We play once a week. Why would the FA Cup not be a priority for us to go all out?
Well, because I just think that we want to consolidate our position to qualify for Europe next season, which we're 100% on target at the moment to achieving that. But I just think you can't look. If Ange was in his post for 2-3 years or whatever, proper into his into his projects and stuff, I'd say we've got a fair chance of winning this one. But look, I just think it's not for me. It's not going to be much of how can I say it? It's not going to affect me that much if Tottenham didn't make it through. If you know what I mean, I'd rather consolidate and position in the league and do well in the league this season, then concentrate on the cup. But that's just me, though. That's just me. That's how I feel.
But do you not think like with one game a week still, like Haas, one game a week, that should it matter? Our next game after that isn't, our next game after that is Brentford at home. Surely he's going to put the best team out against Man City, and what happened with Fulham. We can't then go out this early in the cup, can we? As well. No,
but that's why I said he'll probably field the strongest side he can field for that game. But all I'm saying is it's not going to be much of a it's not going to be a big deal if we went out against Manchester City. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, still, there is that way of saying, look, I've said if you're going to go out and you go out to Man City, as long as we've not got battered 6-0 or something, you go, okay, cool, it's City. But this, I'm seeing some people say they really wanted Man City, and why not? We've got a great record against them. But in this vein of form, still, they're currently in their peak right now. They are flying. Do we really want them coming to White Hart Lane when we've not got Son, who, let's be fair, Son would scare the crap out of them because they can be got out of the back. Werner, Brennan Johnson, Charlison won't. So is this a good time to be playing City?
It's never a good time to play Man City. They're Man City. I'd rather just play teams from Division 2 all the way to the final and in the final because it's the easy way to do it. You know, who wants the hard way? Look, I think it depends what kind of fan you are. Right? Some fans will prioritise top 4 over the FA Cup because for them they see that as some kind of long-term gain for the greater good. Because all the times we've got top 4, look at all the superstars we've signed, finished top 4, not one. But hey, this time is different. You've got other fans that are like me who would happily finish 6th or 7th as long as we win the FA Cup because it's a trophy and the FA Cup means something. You've got other fans that, like Lee Gunner, if we don't beat Man City, and should be sacked the next morning. So it depends what kind of a fan you are. Yeah, Lee Gunner, I'm taking a bit of banterous shots at you, mate. But I think it depends what kind of fan you are. For me, I really want the FA Cup. I think silverware is more important than anything. I think if we lift the FA Cup this season, what it does for the club, what it does for Ange, what it does for the players' desire to want to win more, what it does for us as fans to stop being called Spursy and bottle jobs. And I think there's so much more positivity from winning the FA Cup than getting top 4. Ideally, you want both because getting in the Champions League should mean more money and it should mean that we should be able to attract better players. Whether we will or not, it's down to Levy and the board as always. But I think we've never played Man City without Son and Kane. We've never done that. All these years we've beaten them. I think we go into this game for the first time. I think they might actually do us. Having said that, I've always got my predictions wrong, Spurs, Man City. I've always got it incorrect. We always seem to pull a rabbit out the hat. So if we do beat them 1-0 and they don't score at White Hart Lane, I will not be surprised one bit. But I do think this might be the time that they break that voodoo. Because no Son and no Kane. I don't know. I've seen us play without Son for 2 games. We looked dog shit against Burnley. And I wasn't convinced with our forward line against Man United. And let's be honest, Man United are a 9th, 10th mid-table team. Man City they're a top-class team. But if we beat them 1-0, I won't be surprised. But if they break their duck against us, this voodoo, I won't be surprised either because no Son or Kane we've never been in that position before against Man City. So, but I want us to win.
There's a lot of tapping noise out over Stel.
Savva.
Sorry, that's.
You're muted now, but yeah, we got. Go ahead, but yeah, for me, look, we got to do our best to win the game. We should always try to win the game. The problem is we don't have quality right now available to do it. Can James Maddison pull something out of his backside? Hopefully. I mean, that's all we can pray. All you can do is pray. Sit, watch, and hope.
Yeah, just with what Stel was saying as well. Look, there's no one more than me that wants us to win trophy after trophy, whether it's FA Cup or whatever. But what I'm saying is, given the circumstances at the moment, the fact that you even said it yourself, we're not convincing up top, this, that, and the other. It wouldn't be much of a problem for me if we was to go out against Manchester City. I would then rather put all our eggs in one basket and go for that European spot. Not because 4th is some kind of trophy for me, but because I want to see Tottenham playing European football.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to beat them.
I don't think we will, but
I don't think we will.
You know, another thing is, I know that we won't go out and sign world-class superstar players to play up top for us when we get into Champions League because we've never done that. We'd rather spunk the money on like £52 million and on bellets and things like that rather than actually investing wisely. But yeah, that's all it is. I just don't think we're in the right place at the moment to be challenging for the FA Cup. If we do, then we do. Bloody hell, you know, egg on my face. But it wouldn't be much of a problem for me if we didn't get through.
Do you know what's funny, Hass? I'm actually more worried about us playing Liverpool than I am Man City. Because with Man City, like I've said, I always get it wrong. I would not be surprised if we beat them. Liverpool's the one. Any time we play them in cup competitions, it's a nightmare. They always seem to have our number.
Question for you then, and I know the answer to this. I can give you the answer. When we played Liverpool at home, right? If they still had the 2 players on the pitch, 11v11, what do you reckon the outcome of that game would have been?
They would have beaten us.
Right. So this is interesting. Right. So this is interesting. on the balance of play, you'd say they beat us. But the thing is, you can't judge 30 minutes as to what the 90 minutes will look like.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Spurs have shown this season against Man United first half, we looked pretty average. Second half, we've come out, we beat them 2-0 at our ground. So you never quite know with us. The one thing Spurs have not done this season, and it's still early doors, I haven't seen us, other than, except when not even Burnley, because we went 1-0 down. I haven't seen us dominate a game from start to finish where we looked like winners and we finished winners. And you said, that is a performance. I've yet to see that from Spurs, but I think that's down to us not having the squad yet.
Yeah, it's been a very bitty performance. Like, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I think the closest one was Villa, but we did Newcastle.
Yeah,
Newcastle was great performance. Yeah, Newcastle's great performance. By the way, just quickly, sorry, I thought I had to bring this up, and I got a super chat as well. Said, haha, I swear, Sav, say many times there ain't many top quality forwards in the world anymore. Now him and I can't read bad.
Now and him and his piss that spuds and
eight quality striker. Blue is the colour. For me, you'll always hear me saying that there are a lack of centre forwards around for sure, but there's not a lack of wide men around. And funny you should mention that, because as I say that, just 60 seconds ago, Mohamed Kudus, a player that I really wanted to sign in January, has just scored an absolute screamer for Ghana against Egypt. So there's a player I would have had Cole Palmer over him. I would have had Anthony Gordon over him. I'd have Jared Bowen over these wide players. So please don't put words in my mouth. Two of these, one of these, not my fault. You can't
The thing is with this comment, right? You can still buy wide players that contribute and score goals. Arsenal, Liverpool have got it. Man City have got it. Arsenal had it last season with Martinelli and Saka. It's not quite worked out this season. But a lot of good teams have got wide players that contribute. Our wide players don't, and this is the issue. We don't necessarily need to go and get a top striker. If we go and sign, like Will said earlier, if we go and sign two really, really good, creative, goal-scoring wide players, why do we need a new striker? We probably don't.
I agree, and that's always been my point. Listen, I think we can get away with Richarlison as a backup to Son until Son comes back. But I don't think you can get away with it if both your wide men aren't scary. You've got to have, we talked about this before, right? You've got to have one of them that scares the bejesus out of the opposition. You've got to have one that can put his foot on the ball, make things happen, create, and the other one's got to devastate. When you look at Werner and Johnson, I just look at it and go, that's what I would expect for West Ham. But West Ham have got better than that out wide for them. Does that make sense, guys? Like, I feel like that's what I would expect a West Ham to have, a Newcastle to have. But we're talking about wanting to be top four and winning leagues and stuff. You can't have forward lines like that. But Rayan is here. I'm going to let Will answer this. He said, Werner, you'll know why in a second. Werner, 3 years in the Bundesliga, 100 plus goals. Son, 4 years, only 26 goals. Son in the EPL, only 114 goals in 9 years. Laugh out loud. Werner is different class.
I think we should let. Yeah, go on.
Serial trophy winner, unlike Son, won 2 trophies. Werner with Leipzig.
I think we should let Will answer this one. And thank you, Ryan. Yeah,
I
don't hear you. Go on, Will. Deep breath.
Yeah. Okay. So let's break this down for this young fellow here. All right. Yes. So when Timo Werner can convert over 30% of his shots rather than 10, then come back and talk to me about that. And when Timo Werner, how many goals has Timo Werner scored in the Premier League? Like you said there in your own super chat. 114 goals, and I think it's more than that. I think that's an old number. But yeah,
I'm finding out. Don't worry.
Even in this, how many goals has Timo Werner scored in the Premier League?
Right, Timo Werner has got 10 Premier League goals in 56 plus his one appearance. So it's 10 in 57. So one every 5.7, 5.8 games.
Right. So we've got Son Heung-min, who in his worst season in the last 6 years has outscored Timo Werner's entire Premier League goal record I think that settles that there. Even this season, Son is tied for first for the most goals from open play scored. You got to remember, Tottenham's only been given one penalty, right? Mohamed Salah and Haaland have only scored the same amount of goals from open play as Heung-min Son has this season. Give Son 3 or 4 penalties this year, and he's already top of the goal charts. So, yeah, you're just absolutely delusional to the delusional could be.
The German league to the Premier League either. I think that's a bit.
No, I mean, look at Harry Kane, for example. Look at Harry Kane in the Premier League. 20 goals a season was his average. The odd, getting close to 30. In the Bundesliga this season, he's already got 22 halfway through the season, right? Almost 2 times the output that he had in the Premier League already. That is how easy it is to score in the Bundesliga versus the Premier League. Harry Kane. So unless Harry Kane magically got 2 times better this year than he did last year,
I think it's fair to say Timo Werner 4 or 5 years ago had a good patch. There was something about him that attracted
3 seasons in a row.
Chelsea that wanted him to come, right? But there's clearly something about him since then where he's not been as good, and he's just become an average player between the ages of kind of 24 to 27. So, it's a bit like, I remember Dele Alli. Dele Alli was a phenomenal young player for 2-3 years, and now look, Dele Alli's, I'm not saying Timo Werner's gone down the same path, because Dele Alli's completely finished. But I think Timo's just a player that was maybe okay once, who's just dropped off, and he's not that guy anymore.
And then, too, in those last 2 years at the back of the Bundesliga, he's scored like 4 goals, right? So come on.
Son's been consistent every season bar last year. But let's be honest, last season, other than Kane, who was good at Spurs?
Can I just ask a question? If and I'm not disputing.
Have a love this. Have a love this conversation.
He paid me for me to delegate to Will to prove him wrong. I enjoyed that. That was for me. That was win-win-win all round. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
So just a quick question, right? Anyone can go first, whatever. But if Werner's that bad and he's terrible at the moment, let's not beat around the bush. You can't hit the cow's backside. But what is our new staff members like? All these people that brought in Munn, all these that are doing all these analytics and this that. What have they looked at to suggest? Right, this guy's going to come in, do this for us.
He's free. He costs no money.
No.
Does it come down to money? Does it come down to money? Is it just like, all right, cool, he's on a loan. Okay, we're not going to spend any money. So analytics, you can go and do one because he's coming in on a loan. It doesn't matter.
Find us a player you think might be good for free. That's what they've done.
Look, for me, I think, first of all, I want to say, I don't think Werner's a bad footballer, by the way, right? I don't. But does he offer us anything that we didn't already have? I don't think he does. For me, I think that whoever played on that left, I think Werner will grab a few goals between now and the end of the season. I think there's many bad opponents that he's going to grab some goals. I expect in a game probably like Brentford at home where we might score 3 or 4 or 3 or whatever we score, I would expect a player like Werner to grab a goal against Brentford, who aren't very good at the moment. I would expect him to grab a goal against Burnley at home when we play them, or Luton at home. But what I don't want to see is he scores a few goals against crap teams and we start going, oh my God, there you go, trust Ange. That's why you bring him in. To your second point about
this guy did it again, and he's completely wrong.
That's all right. Listen,
he's saying Werner's better than Haaland.
Hang on. We'll get to it. But keep doing it, mate. Listen, I reckon there's a lot more you could dig up Will about Son, but keep paying.
But not only that, but hold on, keep paying for it because you were wrong. Son has scored 156 Premier League goals, not 114. So
there you go.
Has he?
That's true.
Yeah,
he has. Yeah. No,
are you sure?
151, I believe.
156. I'm looking at it right now.
I've got it.
By the way, I don't think Werner's crap. I just think he's out.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't.
Leagues.
He's got 115 Premier League goals and 157 total goals for Spurs.
It says, all right, let me double check the criteria.
It is 115 because he broke the 100 record. He broke the 100 record last season.
I'm sure. Sorry, I'm not sure you can see that too clearly because of the boxes, but can you see there? 288, 115. He's got 115 and then 157 and 393. But I mean, 157 goals isn't too shabby. And he's still better than Timo Werner at football.
If you asked any
Oh,
club
no.
in the top 4 teams across all of Europe, you can have Son or Werner. I guarantee every single team is picking Son without
Timo.
even batting an
Timo.
eyelid.
Timo.
It's
Timo.
levels,
Timo.
man.
Oh, Premier League goals.
Team
I'm talking.
Timo.
Okay, so yeah,
Team
in their
Timo.
entire career, in his entire career, Son's had 156 league goals. So that includes his Bundesliga period.
And we'll get back to that in a second. We'll get to that super chat. As I was saying, for me, I don't think the signing of Timo Werner has got anything to do with the stats-based, data-driven model. I think that is for full-time signings. I think that is for players we're buying. I think what's happened here, tell me, guys, Will Stel tell me if I'm wrong. I think what's happened here is a pure case of his agent has let people know that he's available. It's been put onto Postecoglou's desk. And Postecoglou, I think, has said, okay, yeah, I'll take it. Not he's my number one, but okay, we'll take it. And there's a huge difference to me between that and having scouted him and really, really wanted him. Guys, anyone think that could be it?
Those analytics should also apply to loan signings, because at the end of the day, they're coming in to play in that same system that Angie's playing, right? So what's the point in saying, like, they could have said someone like, I don't know, Akin Fenwa's on a free, whatever. Argument's sake, I'm not saying, whatever. He's on a free, bring him in. Got nothing, no attributes that suits Angie's system, but he's on a free. What's the point? What is the point?
Yeah, but you can't run analytics and data on every single loan opportunity that might
swing past your desk, can you? They should, yeah, but imagine how much money these people have been paid, right? They should have a pool of players that they're looking at to say, right, these players that are available on loan, they've got this attribute that will suit Angie's system. Yeah.
I don't disagree with you, but maybe he just became on loan. Maybe it wasn't that he was available a month ago on loan, but something might have changed and then it's presented and we've gone, yeah, we'll take it. I don't want him, by the way. I don't hate him. I think he'll do a job, but I just feel like this was one of those very quick ones where
we always do this. This is not
we
always do this as a
by the way, my question,
we pluck these random, nobody wanted him. He was linked to Man United before we were going to buy him, and the Man United fans were in meltdown. We were laughing. Our fans on social media were going, ha ha ha, Werner, you're in the mud. As soon as he signs for Spurs, good signing, low risk, nice. If Ange wants him, I want him. All right, okay. No problem.
Guys are doing this for money. I don't know what that means. Big up. Listen, let me get some super chats. Super chats. By the way, Jay Sun, dude, you've got to relax. Listen, I muted you for a second because every single comment was about Richie, me hating Richie. I know you've got a hard on for Richie. I know you have. I know you love him. Some of us don't rate him. It's okay, mate. It's okay. You can try and prove all show that you love him. Anything you say isn't, I don't know about the rest of the panel, nothing you can tell me is going to change my mind on a player I've seen play for nearly a decade.
Can I just say, it's quite funny that his name is actually Jay Son as well.
He's
saying that if he's a Richarlison fan, he's saying Richarlison's good, and then he's saying that Son's 156 goals were irrelevant because he has no trophies.
Well,
all of Richarlison's goals are irrelevant because he has no trophies.
Guys, let me ask you a question, right? Just so we can kind of put some perspective on this whole Timo Werner deal. And I want to add to what Hass has said here. I want to kind of look at this whole data analytics kind of mindset. If Ange Postecoglou was given, let's say, 40 million pounds, and he was told, right, Ange, here's 40 million. You can bring in a player to play out wide. Who do you want? And our data analytics department were told, here's the criteria. This is the budget you have to work with. And they ran that model. Do you think Timo Werner comes top or even in that list? I think the answer is no, right? Tell me what you think. For me, the key driver for bringing in Timo Werner is two things. One, he is free. There's no money to spend on the guy other than the wages. And two, it's a short-term loan deal, which means we've probably got something lined up in the summer, you'd like to think. But the fact there's a clause you can buy him is also concerning. So If Ange was given £40 million and the data analytics department were told you've got 40 million to spend with, do any of you think we signed Timo Werner?
I bloody hope not.
I think.
No.
I think
No.
I think the temptation will be too much for Levy. But let me bounce that back at
If
you.
it's not, if Levy's not involved, right? He's out of
Levy,
it.
no, I don't think so. No.
So if the answer is no, does that not tell us it's because he's free that he's here?
Yeah,
it's
of
not
course.
about data analytics.
Of course. But then you got to look at someone like a club like Bayern Munich. They've gone out and bought Eric Dyer, who is like dog shit.
Yeah, but he's like a fourth choice backup, isn't he? Which is he's not going to play. But you're right, he is dog shit. You're right.
Can a club like Bayern Munich do better than Eric Dyer?
So are you saying we've bought dog shit as well then?
Well, yeah, we have. You're just saying. Let's not beat around the bush.
I just think if there were some funds, some proper funds, now that we're the FFP kings.
Yeah, I hear you.
We've got this advantage over our rivals. Let's harness that energy, that power, and really take an advantage over them. And there's 30, 35, 40 million. Go and bring in a top winger that can really raise the levels. I don't think anyone in the recruitment team, anyone in data analytics, anyone in Jonathan Lange's department or Ange are saying, yeah, Werner's the one we want if the budget is 35, 40 million. I just don't think that happens.
Can I say one thing that made me laugh about Werner? Look, as I said, I'll state this again for anyone. I don't think it's the worst signing we could have made. I just think it's another meh signing. I don't think he's really an upgrade. When everyone's fit, is he really that much of an upgrade on Solomon, Son, who can play there? Even Richarlison, is he that much of an upgrade in all of them? I don't think he is. The worry for me about this is, when as YouTubers, we get to do shows every day, right? And go on all these channels and you ask people, right, what forwards do you want? What forwards? And every single person has, I'll come to you, mate. You don't have to put your hand up.
No, it's right. My hand's just resting.
I was going to say, it was just
it's resting. Look.
For me, it was no one. I don't know about you guys. No one mentioned Timo Werner. I was hearing we want Jota, who, by the way, would be on a loan or a free as well. We want Jota. We want Jimenez. We want this player, that player, this player, that player, blah, blah, blah. Patrick Schick. We want this, that, the other. Then the day he signs, all I hear from our entire fan base is it was the best we could get. Who's better out there? And I'm like, hang on. No one mentioned this bloke's name. No one turned around and said, it'd be good for Spurs, Timo Werner. Then all of a sudden, he's the best we can get. I just feel, for me, the overwhelming feel, Will, I'll come to you. The overwhelming, you wanted to say something. The overwhelming feeling I get is underwhelming. That's it. And I'm not having, we got an assist on his debut. I mean, the assist was a 3-yard pass to Bentancur. It's not like a mazy dribble where he beat 4 men, whipped the ball in, and you go, wow, that goal was all down to Werner. Does that make sense, Has?
No, it does make sense. Absolutely makes sense. But what I wanted to say, Savva, was what's going to tell me, the thing that's going to tell me most about, where this club's headed is if they go out and buy Timo Werner at the end of the season. Because if they go out and exercise the right to buy him at the end of the season, that says to me, same old. Because is that temptation going to be there to think, right, 16, 17 million, Timo Werner, we can bring him in on the cheap, or are we going to say, not good enough, we need someone better, like what Stel's saying, we'll go out by a world-class or, a class player who's going to operate up top. That is the key for me. I will judge it on that at the end of the season, because if we go out and buy Timo Werner, then it's just the same old again for me, cutting corners. And that's the way it's been for the last, how many years?
Yeah, I mean, Will, let me ask you. This is the thing. People keep talking about, let's get top 4, blah, 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 blah. My worry is, listen, of course, I want to finish as high up the table as possible. Am I really bothered about Champions League football? Not so much now that they're changing it into this crazy format that they're changing it into, but that's another story. historically, Will, whenever we've made Champions League football, we've never kicked on. We've never had a summer window where you go, yeah, that's why we got Champions League. Is it going to be different this time if we get it? And have our fans got enough expectation to make that happen? Because I'm seeing a hell of a lot of excuses for a hell of a lot of average football players in our club. Look in my chat right now, Will. People, the Brennan Johnson.
I try not to, because the opinions in there are pretty peak. So,
but you see what I mean?
You attract these guys like flies to vinegar. It's pretty.
I really do, don't I? I really do. Someone just called me a pleb because I didn't read out their comment. I mean, there's like 1,000 comments so far throughout this show, and apparently I'm a pleb for not reading out that one. But
you pleb.
I know, shocking. I've been called worse. Will,
I don't even know what a pleb is. So.
I dream of being called a pleb.
Oh yeah, normally it's not as polite.
Apparently, Savva.
Hang on, we've got to, Will, right? If we get into the Champions League, we've got to see a window where we're not bringing in the players of the quality of Werner, Brennan Johnson, Solomon, Valise, Phillips. We've got to see, haven't we, a window where you go, yes, haven't we?
You'd like to. I mean, like for me, like there's been signings that have gone on in the league. For example, a lot of the signings that Aston Villa has made over the last 2 seasons that you're like, why didn't we get those guys? You know, because that's a team that we should be able to compete for players. That's a team that we should be able to actually take players over. Like even Jared Bowen, like why not just go out and buy him from West Ham, right? Like he's not going to, you know.
See, because that would show ambition. Will, I would absolutely bite your hand off right now if you said to me in the summer Spurs were going to go and sign Jared Bowen.
It'd be great.
That's a player who walks in our team, scores goals, gets assists, ready to hit the ground running, Premier League, homegrown, ticks all the boxes. You know what box he doesn't tick? The price. Right. If we're going to be brutal, it would be the price. But
yeah, I mean, it's like you could say Maddison was one of those signings, but we waited until Leicester gets relegated and his relegation clause is triggered, and you know the prices dropped. You know, say
and they want winks.
You know, I mean, it's just kind of silly, but because I don't think we need a lot of players right now. Like I agree. We need some depth, but This is the history of Tottenham, is that we don't need a lot of players and we never buy the ones that we need. So yeah.
But it's a shame. It's a shame because we are buying the ones we need in other areas. Just quickly, let me get these super chats out of the way before they just pile up a little bit. Rayan, big up to you, Rad. All jokes aside, I do appreciate it. Said Haaland could not beat Werner's 28 goal a season in the Bundesliga. Werner had 27 GA in his first Chelsea season. Second season, he did not play. I'll be honest, I've got a feeling that Erling Haaland goes to bed every night thinking, if only I was as good as Timo Werner. I truly believe. Hang on. Let me get these super chats out of the way, please. Let me get them out of the way.
Yeah.
I love it. Second season, he did not play because of Lukaku. Love it.
True.
Big up, Rayan.
He actually played more games in his second season than he did in his first season. And most of his goals, 65% of those goals came from playing left wing at Chelsea while Christian Pulisic was injured. So, like, seriously, get your facts straight. As a striker, and like Jason's saying, the Sun can't play down the middle. There's not a striker in England right now who's scored more goals from open play than Heung-min Son as a number 9. Fact.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Rayan has come in again and said Werner has. Hang on, let me just sort this out. This swap. Does it matter if I swap Stel and House? They look the same. So there we go. With certain round. Werner has 44 GA in 56 games for Chelsea. Rest of sub appearances. Won 2 trophies in 1 year with Leipzig. 6-month injured. Werner win. 115 goals in 9 years. Rayan, it really is pushing this agenda. I'll tell you what, Rayan.
He had 6 goals and 8 assists in his first year at Chelsea. So where is he getting this 24 GA? Are you doing all comps? Because he only had 4 goals in the Champions League.
I've got a question for Rayan.
Where is he getting the 24 GA for Chelsea?
I've got a question for Rayan. If Timo Werner is as good as you say he is with all these stats and data, why has no top club in Europe in the last 2 years gone in for him or tried to get him? Why has he ended up at Spurs, a team that finished 8th that wins no trophies?
On loan.
Why has Timo Werner not been scouted by any other club in Europe? If he's that good, the way you say. Better than Son, better than Haaland.
But to be honest, guys, I think sell Son in the summer, sign Werner, and there you go. There's our striker for the next 5 years, Timo Werner. We get rid of Son, and then that way, next time he goes to the Asian Cup, we won't miss him because we'll have Timo Werner. So big up, Ryan.
66 full 90s. Get your numbers right. If you're going to use stats, get your numbers right. So Chelsea in all competitions, because that's what you're counting there when you say 44 GA,
especially against Will as well. If you're going to come up against Will, you need to be like airtight.
And it's actually not 44; it's 41, right? So 41 GA in all competitions for Chelsea in 66 games, not 44 and 56.
Jesus, Will's got everyone on toast today.
Yeah. By the way, if I get through to these final super chats, Della Spurs is an interesting one. We've gone the other way on this
66 full 90s.
Della Spurs has said opinion. Signing Werner is strike 2. Strike 1 was the FA Cup versus Fulham. I think he means the League Cup. Should have rejected Werner. And if Spurs couldn't find someone else, that's on the recruitment. I mean, Della Spur. Listen, I didn't particularly want Werner. No, I can't. You can't be talking about strike 1 and strike 2.
No, I agree with the bit where he says and should have rejected him.
Listen. Stel, it's as I keep saying to everyone. If everyone loves Werner and thinks it's a great signing, that's cool. But if it doesn't work out, people then that are backing it can't turn around afterwards and go, well, Postecoglou wasn't backed. If this is the guy he wanted, he's come out and said that we were tracking him for a few months and that he wanted him. He's got him. He's got his guy. He's got to make it work. But Stay Humble has come in and said, does Rayan have Werner bed sheets as well? Yes, he's got Werner bed sheets, and I've got Erling Haaland bed sheets.
You get these guys with Brian Hill. Like, this is the thing that surprised me the most about this club, right? I have never been a fan of any sports team in my life where our fans rate the draws and shit on the good players. Like, I've never experienced that in my life. It is the most unusual phenomena I have ever experienced in my 43 years of being alive on this planet. Like, I find it I'm more flabbergasted by this than I am people believing the world is flat.
Hang on, I'm going to write it down. Right, I'm just going to do something in the background. Look, let's move away from Timo Werner.
What about people? Come on. What about people?
Let's move away from Timo.
More reasonable.
Guys, let's move away from Timo Werner, right? Let's move away from Timo Werner. What was I going to ask next? This conversation has gone wild. Do you know what? FFP. Look, Stel, I know you want to talk about FFP. Look, for me, lots of people now said, "Oh, well, look, Daniel Levy's run us really well. We're not in any FFP trouble," which is true. For me, then, here's the topic of conversation. Isn't this the perfect time then, if all these clubs are in trouble and we've got something like 300 odd million we could spend before we get into anywhere near FFP? Isn't this the time that you go, right, strengthen from a position of strength? Isn't that what we should be doing right now? I'll let you guys discuss as I quickly jot something down in the background.
I'll go first. So we've waited 23 years for a plan to work. Okay, let's now say the plan is working. We've won nothing. One Carabao Cup. So I've waited 23 years for this plan, almost a quarter of a century, over 2 decades for this plan to work. In the meantime, I've seen Wigan win an FA Cup, Man City clean up, Liverpool win everything, Arsenal win 4 or 5 FA Cups. I've seen Man United win a European trophy, Leicester win a league, Leicester win an FA Cup, Portsmouth win an FA Cup. All these other clubs have managed to find some success, but we've waited 23 years for this plan. And for me, I cannot believe the brainwashing that is going on amongst the media and sections of our fan base. Journalists saying Levy's a genius. Fans of ours saying, I love it when the plan comes together. Other fans saying, you see, this is what it was all about. And I'm like, what was it all about? We've won nothing. At the end of the day, this is the reality. These are the facts that no one wants to talk about. Enoch and Levy bought the club for £22 million, right? £22 million. The club's now worth £3 billion. That is 136x. 136 times the valuation they bought it for. That's how much they've increased their wealth, their asset, if they want to cash out. And they've done it using us. We have cash flowed them. We're the ones that buy Sky TV, BT membership to watch the games, to watch Spurs. And then they get Sky money. We're the ones that pay for season tickets and merch and match day tickets. We've cash flowed them so that they can take their 22 million, turn it into 3 billion. And in return, we've got one Carabao Cup where they have become billionaires. On top of that, they've used money profits that they've kept in the bank. Part of it are covenants for future transfer payments, legal contracts that they must have a certain amount in the bank. The rest has been retained profits. They've used that money and other income from the academy to fund borrowing £800 million worth of debt they've put us in. That money in the bank was the collateral, the security, plus other assets. So they've used what money we do have in assets to borrow against the club to raise their valuation to 3 billion. This 23-year plan, there's only one winner, Enoch and Levy, because they make £3 billion out of this. We've won nothing as fans from this, nothing. Yet Levy's a genius. The plan's coming together. What plan? What have we as fans got from this? We've built a state-of-the-art academy that hasn't produced one top draw player for the first team. Harry Kane was developed in the old academy in Chigwell. We've developed a state-of-the-art training ground that hasn't developed one winning football team. We've developed a state-of-the-art stadium that hasn't had one trophy put in it. Tell me where we as fans have won from this. The only winner is Enoch and Levy. They've pulled all of our trousers down, but because it's not the 90s and we're not going bankrupt, it's fine. Because we've gone from an average 8th to 6.5 in the league over 23 years compared to the previous 23 years, we're suddenly a big club. The truth is, and I hate saying this stuff because it sounds like I hate the club. I love the club. It's why I wear the shirt. They have used us to bankroll a cheap investment, scale it to this Goliath of $1 billion corporation, and we've had nothing in return. We're called Spursy and we're called bottle jobs. That's what we've got out of this. The only way they can justify what they've done, the only way they can even begin to convince me this wasn't all about them and creating wealth for them, is to start buying some top-class signings and show that we now have financial advantage and financial power that the others don't, and start signing some serious players and getting this over the line. I don't want to hear Ange works with cheap players. Ange only works with, these little gems. In Asia, that works. In Australia, that works. In Scotland, that works. This is the Premier League. You're up against some of the biggest, most powerful clubs in the world. And in the Champions League, you're up against the biggest and the best. You need those elite players at some point. You need the Alisson, Virgil van Dijk moment. You need the Jack Grealish, Haaland moment. Unless they start doing that, using this new financial power we've got, then I'm sorry. This was all about them going from 22 million to 3 billion and using us cash flow and putting us in debt to do it. If anyone can tell me otherwise, go for it.
Right.
Savva, that's my thoughts on FFP, mate.
I'm about to tell you otherwise.
We've got a debate, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a debate. Just before you do that, just in case anyone doesn't know, Mo Salah did get taken off for Egypt with an injury. So he did come off with an injury.
That means we're going to win the league.
I just put that in for you. Haz, go on. Tell Stel why he's wrong. Go on. I'm not saying you are. I just hope that Haz wants to prove that.
I don't think Stel is wrong. No, I'm just kidding. But there are a few things I want to address. Look, I think first and foremost, we do need to address the fact that 23 years we haven't seen a return in anything at the moment. One trophy. It is true. But the other side of the coin is we need to give Ange time, because if we are to believe that there's a new dawn at this club, and Stel's going to say to me, yeah, but there's been so many new dawns, this, that, and the other. But let's give Ange till the end of the season and going into next season and see what happens in the transfer market. If we're operating differently, then I'll say fair enough. We want to take a new sort of approach to everything. Yes, 100%. I'll back that. I will back that. I just feel like, you know, with the FFP thing, this was a thing like from back in the day as well, where Levy was like, you know, we're well within FFP. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and nothing happened. You know, so what's different? What's different this time around? Is it the fact that now there's clubs being sort of docked points and being questioned about things? Is that what's changed? I don't get why it's different now.
Look, can I just say, just before I come to you, Will, first and foremost, I'm going to say this. Smash the likes, people. I mean, there's over 406 of you in here and 168 likes. Come on, people. Smash that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We're close to 13K. Close-ish. Depends how close 120 away is, but we're close-ish. For me, look, I think I can see subtle changes in what they've done. What I will say is, for me, I still haven't seen the moment. I still haven't seen the moment where they've gone out and really shown ambition. I was all for, as you guys all know, I was all for Harry Kane going because Harry Kane wanted to go. It wasn't like I actively want Harry Kane to leave, but Harry Kane wants to leave. You've got to sell him. And by the way, yeah, Will looks all right for 43, doesn't he? But you've got to sell him when he wants to go. My disappointment is that when that happens, then when I look and go, right, okay, they knew from the beginning of the summer, or I think Levy, Kane and Postecoglou have all alluded to the fact that Kane wanted to go. They all alluded to the fact that Postecoglou said in his first day when he met Kane, right, he was basically told that he wants to leave the club. So they had all summer. My disappointment is you've had the whole summer. You've let Kane go. I acknowledge you're not bringing in a Harry Kane replacement. There isn't anyone in world football like Harry Kane. And if there was, they're not joining Tottenham. But my worry is that then they didn't go out and get anybody even half as good as Harry Kane to come in, whether that be as a winger or a forward. It was Valise and Brennan Johnson and Solomon Solomon, Valise, Brennan Johnson, Kulu and Valise. And it's like, could we not have pushed? So what I need to see, as I said, I can see small differences. You can see it's slightly changing. We're moving quicker in the market. That's good. I like that. It's really positive. We're doing well in the league. That's positive. Mm-hmm. But we've been here before. I know lots of people are pretending that what's happening with Ange right now is we've never seen before. That's called recency bias. We've been here before. We've been here with Harry Redknapp. Right? We've been here with Martin Jol. We've been here with Pochettino. Right? We've been here without the style of football with Conte.
Harry Redknapp.
For me, yeah, Redknapp. Yeah, I said Redknapp. For me to see the difference now, what I need to see is get to the end of this season and then go and do something that makes me think, Jesus Christ, that is, yes.
And we haven't seen that either. We haven't seen that either.
Right. And that's fine so far that we haven't seen it. I'm not saying it has to happen in this January window, by the way, but that is what will make me truly go, you know what? They wanna win. They don't just want to get to fourth or Champions League and pick up the money. That is what will make me change as a fan. Right? It won't make me forget, guys, 23 years, but what it will do is make me say, yes, that is now, you've given the manager everything that's needed to go and challenge for titles. Will, does all of that make sense? I tried not to be too harsh, not too kind. I've just tried to be a bit in the middle there. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, for me, I mean, anybody can change, right? So just because you've been a pleb for 20 years doesn't mean you have to continue being one, right? Anybody can change, but you have to see evidence of that. And so far, we haven't really seen any real evidence of changing, right? Every summer, we seem to sign 7 cheap signings. It just seems to be a trend. Like Daniel Levy likes the number 7 for some reason, right? After we sold Gareth Bell, how many players did we sign? 7, right? Summer we sell Harry Kane, how many players did we sign? 7, right? I mean, it's just this weird. It's just weird obsession with the number 7 for him in the summer. You could say that over the last year and a half, the quality of the signings, while not big names, has been better than it was in the previous couple of years. But it's still not, there's still nothing that really shows true intention to actually win, right? Like there is no, like you could say it's they overpaid or whatever, but the fact that like say Arsenal were willing to drop £100 million for Declan Rice shows that they had an intent, right? Even if you think it's overpaid, or even Chelsea going out and spending $100 million for Caicedo or whoever else is, it shows that the owner is saying, you know what? Let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's go sign a player that we think is going to get us over the line. Whether they do or not is a different subject. It's the ambition that's shown in the purchase itself that we haven't seen yet. And I'm not saying we have to go out and spend $100 million, but why not, buy a player that, even if we say go get Jared Bowen for 70, we'd be like, okay, like buying, like Maddison's one of those signings that when you sign him, you're like, okay, yeah, he's a player, good. I love that signing, right? Awesome. I was super excited when we signed James Maddison. But the price at which we got him out was like, yeah, that's, good job. So, I mean, unless our fan base is like, yeah, we went down to, what do they call it? Where you guys at? We call it TJ Maxx here. You guys call it something else. It's a TS Max or something.
TK Maxx.
TK Maxx.
TK Maxx. Yeah.
So it's TJ Maxx here in the US, and you guys call it TK Maxx, but it's the same store.
We went one letter deeper into the alphabet than you.
Yeah. So basically, what our fan base is, this is what our fan base celebrates, and it's really weird to me. It's not like, man, we went down to Nordstrom's, or I guess Harold's for you guys, and we just bought a Gucci bag. No, we're excited because we went down to TK Maxx and got a Coach bag for 60% off, right? Like that's what our fan base celebrates. Why can't we go into Harold's and get something at like 20-30% off? Like I don't understand why we have to be the TK Maxx shoppers. Why can't we shop at Harold's once, just one time, save up a little bit? Let's go shop at Harold's.
I would say at the moment though, like I'm not unhappy. By the way, there's been 2 goals in 2 minutes here in this African Cup of Nations game. Egypt equalised to make it 1-1, and now Ghana have gone down the other end and scored. Just for anyone that cares. Look, I'm not annoyed at the moment. By the way, I don't think that type of signing very often happens in January. My disappointment, as I said, was that it didn't happen in the summer. Yeah, my disappointment was that you knew Harry Kane was leaving the football club and that you thought that replacing him with Valise, Brennan Johnson, and Solomon
was
the right thing. Was the right thing to do. I'm really happy with how this is going, but I will always caveat it. I've been here before. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. I'm not. Okay. Bless me. Sorry, I was trying to hold it in and it got me. By the way, I don't want to sit here and go, oh my God, I think things are bad. It's terrible. I don't. I think things are really good. The reason I'm cautious is because I think a lot of our fans are acting like we've not been here before. I'll come to you, Haz and Stel. We have been here before. We're sitting in 5th and everyone's going on like we're amazing. I'm not saying we're not a good team. Harry Redknapp had a 2nd and 3rd. All right. Pochettino got a 2nd in a Champions League final. But there's this belief now that everyone just says, but we've got Ange now, so we don't need the top players in. Ange will just make us. I feel that it's very, very naive to think that you're going to go and challenge City and Liverpool year in, year out without buying a couple of star players to go and be the difference makers. That's my only thing. Name me teams that have won a Premier League, guys, without those star players. And I know everyone will go to Leicester as the anomaly. Yeah, Leicester is the anomaly. But Leicester weren't up against this Liverpool and this Man City. Who wins leagues without star players in their team? Like proper star players. Liverpool have Mo Salah.
Nobody.
Alisson. Van Dijk. Some of the best players in the world in their position. Man City have got them all over. I don't think we have.
Our fan base has got this amazing capability of forgetting things that are said in the past and then just thinking, right, don't worry about that. No, you need to listen to that because it's telling you what is going on within the club. When Harry Kane left, he did an interview a few years before and he said, when I feel the club isn't matching my ambition, then I'll go. Right. He went, which says you don't match my ambition. As soon as he went to Bayern, he said, it's different here. The pressure's different. This is about winning. So at some point, you've got to sit back and say, right, we're not Bayern Munich. We're not Liverpool. But that's what we have to beat if we want these trophies. So
Sure.
we need to either become them or get as close as possible. So if we don't start behaving like them, which means there's 150 million, go and get 2 top players, we will never do it. And there's always an excuse with our fan base because they want to protect Levy and they're scared to say, do you know what? Our club just doesn't have that level of ambition. They're scared to say it. But look what happened when we brought in Ndombele. None of us knew who this guy was before we signed him. Let's get real. None of us knew lots about Ndombele. When we spent 45 million on Davinson Sanchez, none of us knew about this guy. When we spent 45 on Lo Celso, none of us knew about this guy. When Manchester City bought Haaland and Grealish for 160 million, we knew exactly who they were. So if Spurs go and spend big money on a Kvaratskhelia, a Victor Osimhen, not saying we will get them, we know who they are. There's still a risk. Yeah, there's still a risk. You never know. But at least we know they've proven something quite special and they've won. So that's what I'm looking for from Spurs. Can you go and get that level of player, a Klinsmann, a Van der Vaart, someone who we know is top level doing it now? Or are we going to go down this, Brennan Johnson will come good. Give Liz time. Because you know what? We're not going to beat the Liverpools, the Bayerns that way. And Will's right. Arsenal aren't going to do it this year, but at least they showed intent with Rice. Where they got it wrong was that Havertz signing and messing around with the goalie. If they bought another top player, I think they would have been there. But they're showing intent. Spurs need to make that jump. And if we don't do it now that we're FFP kings, everything I said was true. This was all about the owners just maximizing their wealth portfolio and not about us winning trophies. So
no, and you're right, because you got to look at Liverpool, the way that they do things. I just don't understand why we always go through and we just buy a ton of players. Like we were so inflated with average players, it's not even funny. Why can't we be the team like Liverpool, who may not sign anyone in January, but then in summer goes out and buys an 80 million pound goalkeeper and an 80 million pound other player that gets us over the line. It just sprinkles a little extra quality into the rather than spreading 160 million pound across 7 people. Why not just go out and buy 1 or 2 that can get things done, that can impact games, that can change the outcome of finals, semifinals, tight games, etc., etc. You're spending the same amount of money. You do not have to shop at TK Maxx.
Yeah, but you also got to look at it. If with these so-called quality players out there that we're not buying, if the opportunity is presented to them to join Liverpool, City, Chelsea, or whoever, and Tottenham, who are they going to?
Yeah, but those clubs have FFP problems.
They've got FFP problems, but that's been part of the problem, right? Maybe why we can't sign these players, because who's, put it this way, who's the highest earner at the club?
Has, you're spot on. But here's my counter to you. When have we tried?
I don't know.
When have we ever been linked to a top class player? When have we ever been linked?
We've always been linked to players.
No, but you know what I mean? Never got serious conversations with this guy. When has that ever happened? We've never.
We always haggled over £5 million.
Look what happened with Diaz. Exactly, and we'll I'll touch on to that point in a minute. But look what happened with Luis Diaz. Right?
We
were linked with Luis Diaz.
That's one player
wanted to go to Liverpool.
That's one player. That's one player.
But then you've got other players where we're haggling around for 2-3 million, whilst other clubs come in. Yes, Savva, respectively, those clubs are now under investigation for FFP. But what if that has been? I'm not defending the board here at all, but we are not a club that actually goes out and says, "There's 200 grand for you wage every week. There's this, that, and the other." We don't do that.
Yeah, but it's the fact that we don't do that is the question. Listen, by the way, I'm trying to make this a conversation without it sounding like we're bashing the club. By the way, I'm seeing lots of comments in the chat. I'm happy with what the direction the club's going in. The only thing I'm saying is that's good for a year, but we've seen it before. So before, when people are like, everyone is now an Ange Postecoglou expert. Most of this fan base in the summer, I remember when we were linked with him and I said, I'd happily have this manager. Most of our fan base going, oh, who is he? He's from Scotland. Now everyone's, but that's not what Ange does. And Ange does this. And everyone is now an expert on the Ange Postecoglou playbook. And as Stel alluded to earlier, by the way, I think Postecoglou is a fantastic football manager. But there's a huge difference between doing it with a certain way in those leagues and overcoming Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villas in this league. There's a huge difference. Man City cannot play well for 7 games like they did. For 6 games. They had 1 win in 6. And everyone goes, oh, they're going to lose. Then they go, boom, there's our quality. Let's just win every game. Yeah? Postecoglou's not going to have to face anybody like that when he was Celtic manager in the Scottish League. Yeah, they were the outright favourites. You could do what you want to do as Celtic. They're the outright favourites. They're going to win it. I'm not knocking the achievement, but coming here and doing it with Tottenham, how did Liverpool elevate themselves? If you remember, Klopp came in for 2-3 years. Fair play to him. He got rid of all that deadwood. Remember, we battered them. We used to batter them. We finished above them for, was it 8 out of 9 seasons? We finished above Liverpool. Klopp came in. Nah, I need better than that. Out. You go, all out. And he built a really good squad. But there was something missing. Do you remember? Everyone was like, oh, they keep losing in finals. Then they sold their star player. And everyone went, oh, what are they doing? And he goes, right, boom. Alisson, you go in goal. Van Dijk, you go in centre-half. And straight away, the whole club goes, wow. And since then, they've won the Premier League, the Champions League, multiple FA Cups, multiple League Cups, Super Cup, this cup, that cup. That, for me, is, I'm not saying now, by the way. If people say, oh, you want it right now, I'm not saying right now. If we get Champions League qualification, that's what I think we need to do. We need to, at some point, go, you know what? Let's make a statement. Let's sign 2 players that come in that we don't have to go, oh, they might come good, or they're an Ange player, but you drop them in, and we go, that's got to get you over the line. Now go and compete. But I think that what we still are seeing, sorry, I'm ranting a bit. I think what we are still seeing is we're bringing in the Johnsons, and then all our fans just go, oh, he'll come good. Oh, Richarlison, he's scoring again. He's proved you wrong. Højbjerg will be good. No, the top clubs don't act like this. Sorry for the rant, but they don't.
No,
I'm really happy. I'm really happy with what's happening at the club. I am. But this isn't anything. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. This isn't anything we've not seen before. So what's going to make this stand out from Poch, from Harry, from Yo? What is going to be the deciding factor that makes this different from them in the long term?
We need 2 or 3 elite players. We need 2 or 3 Harry Kane level or Maddison level from established teams that have won trophies level players where we say, do you know what? And here's the thing, guys. If we went and did that and we failed, you wouldn't hear me moan about Levy and Enoch, because I'd say, do you know what? They gave it a proper go. They genuinely gave it a go. They actually said, try and get some trophies. And it would justify the 23 years of self-inflicted austerity they've put on us. So if you want me to stop saying what I see, which is this was just a one big wealth portfolio valuation increase over 23 years, they've benefited. We haven't one bit.
But it's
then you've got to get those players in.
It makes you wonder, though, still. Huh? It makes you wonder, though, yeah? That season when we was in Champions League, everything was going all right, sort of. But we'll go out and we spend all that money on Ndombele and we offer him that wages, which was on par with, I believe it was Kane at the time.
It was
the
highest
earner. Sorry, was it Son at the time?
He was making the same as much as Son.
200 grand a week.
How old was Ndombele when we bought him, Has?
24, I think, 25.
No, right. I'll find out.
So why are we offering, and like you alluded to,
off of one good season,
earlier on, Stel, no one heard of Ndombele, or most people hadn't heard of him, but yet we went out, we splashed 50-something million, 55 million on him.
65.
We offered him 65 million.
He was
22. And offered him 200 grand a week at 22 years old. Why?
Right.
Why, when there's a wealth of players out there, more well-known, established players, have we? But that just shows we've got the money. That shows that we've got the money to do it. But we
It's not even
spend
about
it
the money,
on the
right?
wrong
Like,
players, right?
it's not even about the money though, right? It's about the things that we do, right? So financial fair play, this is the thing that people don't realize, right? And people need to understand this. At the time when we were doing that, we could have spent £400 million on signings and not breached financial fair play a couple seasons back. The rules have since changed. But the person who is the main lobbyist for changing the rules is Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy has orchestrated, mastermind, and created these financial fair play rules that we are now winning at, right? So this is those rules didn't exist until Daniel Levy pushed for them to exist. Right? This is his way of being able to not spend and still compete with the likes of Manchester City, so and so and so and so and so and so.
I think with the Ndombele transfer, it's true. Daniel Levy, a lot of chairmen in the league don't like Daniel Levy because he's managed to. And listen, fair play to Daniel Levy for managing to get the industry to change its ruling to make it a bit more of a level playing field. But now you've got that level playing field, you have to take advantage. Otherwise, what were you trying to do other than a money grab? With Ndombele, I think what's happened there is because he was 22, we saw that there was maybe long-term value where you can sell him at an older age, like we did with Bale. We bought him at one price, sold him at a higher price.
I don't buy that.
What has?
I don't buy that.
But then there's no excuses in buying him because if we were serious, we'd spend that 65 million on a 25, 26-year-old.
Exactly.
Like, for example, a Perisic in his prime that plays in that position. Someone in their prime. We never do that. We never. The only time I remember Spurs doing that was Jurgen Klinsmann and Van der Ven, and we got them really good deals. But we haven't done that in modern times. We haven't gone out there and said, "There's 70 million for him. There's 65 for him. There's another 65 for him." And all three players, you're like, "Wow, this is different now." And unless I see that, I don't want to hear it about FFP. I'm sick to death of journalists praising Levy to be a messiah after 23 years. We've arrived. How have we arrived if we're getting Timo Werner on a free?
But let's play devil's advocate. I've got nothing wrong with a club being run financially well. I've got nothing wrong with that at all.
I'm all for it, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I've got nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is, not now, but moving forward. I can't say this anymore. Not January, but in the summer. That's where you've got to see that we go, right? That's where you've got to see where we go, right? Just quickly, I saw a comment which made me laugh. Matthew, I'm sorry. I mean, signing Akanji and Rodri weren't gambles for anyone that watches any leagues outside of the Premier League. Akanji's been a well-established international footballer for many, many years. And Rodri was excellent at Villarreal and Atletico Madrid. So this notion that because you didn't know who they were meant that no one knew who they were. Rodri was...
Yeah, but what about Grealish and Haaland?
Yeah, but
wait,
these two are...
We're talking about a manager who's won multiple cups. Does it really matter who he brings in? You're going to trust someone like Pep, who's won cup after league after league, right? If it brings in a player, you're going to trust the player that it brings in, right? Is that not correct? Am I...
Yeah, look, listen, if anyone had watched Villarreal and Atletico Madrid for the season he was there, if anyone had watched them play and watched Rodri, I don't know about you guys. Maybe it's because I really do like what Pep's done in football. Sometimes I watch a game and I just look at a player and I go, Pep will buy him. Because do you guys know what I mean? You watch a player and you go,
100%.
Pep will buy him. He will sit in the midfield for Pep and he will just run the game. Zubimendi, that's a player at some point, depending how Pep goes, he'll end up with Pep Guardiola.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And you just know. But, you know, somebody else earlier on in the show said that, hang on, I've got to find it to just to make sure that I wasn't seeing things. Here we go. Scott Q said this, and this is, Alisson and Van Dijk weren't statement signings, though. They were brought in from Roma and Celtic. Now, Scott,
no.
Alisson was touted about as the best goalkeeper at the time, and Liverpool went and got him. and anyone who had watched Virgil van Dijk for Celtic or Southampton, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to see that he was. Do we all agree he was just different?
There were many clubs. I'll tell you right now, there were so many clubs after those players at the time, and Liverpool ended up with them.
Especially Van Dijk.
100%, they're not players that weren't household names or that not many people knew of.
Alisson too. Alisson was like one of the best keepers in Europe at the time.
Absolutely. He was keeping Edison out of the national team.
Yeah, but the thing is, I haven't said Messi, Ronaldo. I'm talking about Kvaratskhelia, like really talented, high-profile players that have been instrumental to teams being successful. I'm not talking about the echelons of players. We're not going to get Mbappe's, but that level below. Those really talented players just below. That
let me chuck a name at you. Let me chuck a name at you. Even then, everyone knows I love this guy. I'm watching Mohamed Kudus here, who scored a brace tonight. Done really well for West Ham. Right, cost less money than Brennan Johnson. Right, he's not out of our reaches. West Ham signed him. Paqueta. Yeah. Paqueta's a fabulous footballer. Right, yeah, he took a while to settle. Watch him this season. He's a fabulous footballer. West Ham got him. How are they getting him? Pedro Neto. How have Wolves gone and got a Pedro Neto? I'm with you still. I'm not sitting here saying, oh my God, we've got to go and buy Victor Osimhen. Oh my God, we've got to go and buy Mbappe. I'm not saying that at all. But for me, you do need some players that you look at, you drop in and go, like right now, Will, I'll bring you into this. Right now, we should be sitting there and assuming there's no AFCON or whatever going on, we should be sitting there saying, yep, Son's our forward. They're our best two wingers. They play every week. What a forward line. Right? We've signed a lot of players in the last 2 weeks. We signed 2 this window. We signed 9, 8 in the window before. We signed a lot of players. Surely we should have a better forward alongside some than the options we've got. It's just mad how we don't operate like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, if this previous summer window, you could say we needed it, right? Because of the state in which our squad was out, right? A multitude of quality players at a decent price. Fine. Season before that, we didn't, right? There was no reason that we couldn't have gone out and bought 1 or 2 quality players for that Conte team to help the team actually operate at the time. This is the thing. And then we stack our books. Look at all the players we're trying to get out now. It's all players that we bought in the last 3 or 4 years. It's not players that have been here for 10, 15 years, you know what I mean? Like bar Eric Dyer. But the majority of the players that we're trying to get rid of, Joe Rodon, Brian Hill, right? Like go through the list of players we have. Most of those players that we're trying to get rid of are players that we bought since Pochettino got sacked.
Yeah. I agree.
So
I agree.
I mean, it's just trying to get over the mistakes that we made, right, under Jose Mourinho and under Antonio Conte, that are the things that are killing us right now. I just don't understand why then, when we were actually probably in a better position, right? Say after that Champions League final season, we go out and buy 2 really good quality players. Where are we at today from that? Who knows? We could have trophies. We don't know, right? That just like Liverpool when they lost in the final of the Champions League, that very next window they went out and they bought Alisson and Van Dijk, right? So, you know, they see where they have weaknesses and they improve on those weaknesses. We just, spray and pray.
Will, do you know what it is? And it is the downfall of this chairman. It is the absolute catastrophe of this chairman so far. Maybe he will change. I'm not holding my breath. His number one failing is he never builds from a position of strength. Redknapp had us in a league title race. Did he go and build? No. Did it all go wrong in the end? Yes. He then brings in Poch. Right, let's rebuild. In comes Eriksen. In comes Dembele. In comes Alderweireld. In comes this player. Poch then gets us to the brink. Does he build? 2 years we don't sign. That collapses. In comes Mourinho. Right, we're in the mud now. He goes and spends 150 on Mourinho. Sacks him before a final. It collapses. We finish 7th. Now we're regressing. What does he do? Right, I better do something. We're in the mud. Spends 200 million on Conte. We get to 4th. We get to 4th place. Look at the players we bought when we were 4th with Conte. It was shambolic. That collapses. Everyone's Levy out. Everyone fed up with this chairman. We're in a weak place now. What does he do? change the recruitment team, change the footballing directors, bring in Ange, change the style, spend 150 million, get signings early. He always tries to fix things from a low point. When you get to that
Reactive
high
rather than
point,
proactive.
Will, he never ever strengthens from a place of strength. He never does it. He's never ever done it. Go in the history of Tottenham under Levy. He's never built from a place of strength. Liverpool, Champions League finals, Premier League coming second. From a position of strength, they pushed on. Man City, winning leagues, can't win the Champions League. From a position of strength, they go and win the treble. Arsenal, they win FA Cups, they build on it. Win another FA Cup. Arsenal this summer, from a position of strength, got Declan Rice, spent more money. Okay, it might not work. We never, ever attack from a position of strength. It's always when, right, we haven't got Champions League. Do you know what? The fans are turning. That's when Levy acts. This summer, we will be in a position of strength. I really think we'll be in a position of strength because I think we're going to get top 4. If he doesn't do it this summer, you know this guy doesn't give a flying damn, and it was all smokes and mirrors and lies and I made mistakes, I'm sorry. He's got to build from a position of strength. He's never done it in 23 years, never built from a position of strength.
The problem is, listen, I agree. And that's what I'm willing to say, right? I'm willing to say, okay, what we're doing under this manager has been really, really good. Levy signing players earlier, which is different. I've got to give him his credit for that. I can't be two-faced. I'll give him his credit. We moved earlier in the window. What we need to see is that happens in the summer. What will happen though is if we don't get those players, whoever we bring in, right? Our fans go, but that's who Postecoglou wanted. We did this with Conte. When I sat there and said, after we signed 7 players from him that summer, people were coming in my shows. I remember going, oh, look at this. We've got 2 players in every position. Conte's being backed. We're going to win the league. As soon as it didn't go well, but we didn't back him. That's the problem. We can't keep doing that. We've got to move from a position of strength. And people will call us negative still. That's fine. But it's not. We're positive. We want to win the league. We want to crack on. We want to move forward. Just a couple of comments I wanted to bring up. By Checkmate has said, Zubamendi is a very below average player. Oh, mate, go back and watch Zubamendi again.
What?
He's quality. He's a quality footballer.
Orban just went to Lyon.
Yeah, Orban signed for Lyon. Yeah. Orban signed for Lyon. I reckon
wow.
For less than what we offered them in the summer.
He'll use that as a stepping stone. I've got no doubt he'll come very, very good. Just a couple of comments I thought I'd bring up. Not super chats, but I thought that'd be interesting points to talk about. By the way, smash the like button. Please subscribe. I'm only 5 away from the target I set myself for today. Yes, I'm a bit of a geek like that. Big Phil Hicken has said that we never got a striker because we're waiting to get the most important one in. And that means Champions League football makes it possible. Have you not thought about this? Big Phil, we have, but as per our entire discussion, we have heard this so many times before. Get Champions League football, we'll get the player. Last time we got Champions League football, the striker we signed was Richarlison. So please don't say, have we thought about this one? We have.
Arsenal signed Aubameyang and Ozil without Champions League football. Like, this is a nonsense.
I know. Hang on. Let me go. Rain Man said, I'm telling you the problem with Kudus in the summer. We had 0 non-homegrown slots left, which is why people were saying rip up his contract. Rain Man, before we signed, but Kudus was available. Before that, we decided we were going to use the non-homegrown slots for Solomon, Valise. Is Valise young or is he counted as foreign? Definitely Solomon and Kulusevski. Why could they not have gone and got Kudos instead of Solomon? Why did it have to be a homegrown slot that Brennan Johnson?
We all know why. Comes down to money.
Well, no, but he spent that money on Brennan Johnson. That's the worry. The worry is that we had players out there like Kudos, and people are going, yeah, but he's not right for the Ange system. But Brennan Johnson is.
Well, we got Brennan Johnson late in the window when we panicked and we thought, right, we've got to bring someone in. Brennan Johnson will do because he's the only one that's available.
Guys, can I ask you a question on this, right? Regarding homegrown talent. So you see players like, in recent times, if you look at the homegrown players we've signed, Rodon, Sessegnon, Jack Clark, Brennan Johnson, they've all been flops, or so far they've been flops. Let's see what happens with Brennan, but I think he's a flop. We've we're not very good at signing homegrown talent for the first team. Then we sign other players like Alfie Devine, Ashley Phillips, and they just kind of sit and do nothing. We never see them break into the first team. Do you think Spurs, and I'm just asking the question, do you think we should just stop signing homegrown talent for the first team and put more energy and effort and resources into actually developing the homegrown talent in the academy and trying to just give them more of an opportunity rather than Brennan comes in, flops, Cess comes in, flops? What's your thoughts
going
on
forward?
that?
But homegrown didn't matter this summer because we weren't in Europe. This is the fallacy about that whole thing anyway. We weren't even in Europe, so it doesn't matter. We could have signed whoever we wanted. We have enough.
There's a Premier League rule. Well, you've got to have 8 homegrown players in your 25
in the squad.
man squad.
You don't have to play. They just have to be in the squad.
Yes. Can we come to this in 1 second?
And our
There's a couple
4
of comments.
goalkeepers count.
I just wanted to get through these comments and then we can talk about the homegrown before we wrap up the show. Where are the comments? Checkmate said, Kudos has diva attitude, no thanks. Well, whenever I watch him play football, he looks absolutely brilliant, works really hard, scores goals, assists,
Checkmate hates
strong,
trophies.
skillful. Yeah.
It's allergic to trophies.
Mikhail, big up, bro. Hope you're well. I said Football Heritage TV, just out of curiosity, and maybe extend to the panel. Who would be that F me? What a signing. Since we often say not world-class players would join us.
Caravascalia is one.
Even for me, and Michael Elise, someone different, that skill, that get you off your seat moment, that just something different.
I think for me would be going out and getting the best player from another PL club from the top half, or someone else's best player would be for me a statement of intent. Like even from another league, like you said, like a Chiesa, for example, one of the
Pedro
best
Gonçalves, someone like that.
Jared Bowen,
statement. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
We always say our best players just all the time, but we never. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and no worries. Craig Nichols. I mean, Craig. I can't. I'm not going to be rude, but I really struggle when I read comments like this in my chat. When you say, hang on, mate, you're all talking shit. Van Dijk wasn't known. Van Dijk was chased by every big club in world football.
You didn't know him,
right?
Craig.
You didn't know him. Virgil van Dijk, there was a reason Liverpool had to pay 85 million or whatever it was, because every club in world football was chasing him. A fluke signing. Yeah, really fluky.
You could say that
really
about
fluky.
Mane, maybe, but not Virgil van Dijk.
I think
Mane, but not Virgil van Dijk.
Hang on, Will. Mane was excellent at Southampton. Everyone knew Mane was. I think what we're doing here, though, is we're taking players.
Poch wanted him, didn't he? Poch wanted Mane.
We almost signed him.
We're taking players. We're taking players that I keep hearing this. Who knew this player? Who knew that player? Craig, there are other leagues than the Premier League. There are other leagues of football to watch. You can go and watch these players. So please, I mean, you've embarrassed yourself a little bit, Craig. Sorry, I'm not being rude, but it's Virgil van Dijk. And Bobby Andrews, last one, I said, interested to know the panel's thoughts. Would you rather sign a winger, i.e. an Elise or a Matoma, and move Sonny into striker, or keep Sonny left wing and sign a Santiago Jimenez? Guys,
we all know the answer. Santiago Jimenez for me.
And Sonny back to left wing.
Jimenez. Yep, 100%. Because he can play as a left forward as well.
Why can't we sign at least 2 of those players?
Well,
why is it?
But just for his question. Just for his question. I mean, look, we'd love to say we'd sign. I'd love a Matoma and Jimenez and have options. But hey, we're Spurs.
I think Elise for me is a player I enjoy watching more, but Matoma is a player that would better work for Spurs the way we play, I think.
So is that enough for Jimenez then?
I just don't know if Jimenez will score 20 goals in a season.
The question was Mitoma or Jimenez.
I'd take Jimenez over Veliz and Richarlison, House, all day long. All day long.
I just don't think Jimenez is going to score in the striker position. I don't think he's going to score 20 goals in a season, but Son can. That's in that striker role. That's why I would choose Son.
Would you take Jimenez over Richarlison, Will?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would take my Nan over Richarlison right now.
Wow.
Grandma Stewart up top.
Yeah, and then, look, the last thing. By the way, guys and girls, keep it friendly in the chat. All right, keep it friendly. I'm seeing a few comments. Just keep it cool, keep it friendly. It's just football. Just quickly, let's round off then, just for the last five minutes. Stel, I completely agree with you. Every window I see us linked with a Hayden Hackney. We've just done it with Valise and Phillips. We're linked with Hayden Hackney. We're linked with Wharton. We're linked with now Jonathan Rowe.
Lloyd Kelly.
Can't we say now that some of our youth actually get a chance if we want to play youngsters and actually use our transfer budget for first team pros?
I would rather that because
at what stage do they get a game?
Realistically, but I would rather do what you just said, because realistically, if you look at it, we're linked with all these players and we end up bringing a couple of them in, but we don't do anything with them. 2 years later, they end up on loan and we're trying to get rid of them. So I'd rather, not spend that money, use the players from the academy, train them up and then try and integrate them into the team. Why are we going out and spending needless money? I know people are saying it's for homegrown, this, that, and the other. It's to fill the quota for this, that, or the other. But it's just a pointless exercise, and it's just that the cycle just continues season after season. But I can name you a few.
The issue is the players that we do spend money in that are homegrown are crap. Cess has been a disaster.
Exactly.
This is what is flopping. Joe Rodon. Joe Rodon. He's doing great at Leeds, by the way, at Spurs.
He is, yeah. But that's about his level at the moment, isn't it? It's not our level. It's not what we need. Because, and this is the other thing that grinds my gears, right? Oh, Rodon, let's get him back from Leeds. He's doing well, this, that, and the other. Yeah, but it's a different ball game. That's his level at the moment. Leeds is his level at the moment. Why are we looking at championship players all the time? If we're looking at playing in the Premier League, yeah, granted, there are a few players maybe in the Championship that could do a job in the Premier League, but Premier League is the elite level, right? So you want elite level players. That's where we should be looking. We signed
Maddison. He's homegrown. Look at the levels. Obviously, he's a bit older. When we sign young players, 19, 20, 21, 22, I think Savva and I were having this chat the other day. The last time we've done well was Bale and Dele Alli.
Yeah.
That's the last time we've done well. Dele Alli only lasted 3 years anyway, but since then.
By the way, just quickly, Ryan Griffiths in the chat. I don't know if you've seen this, mate. You're a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan. Fabrizio Romano I nearly pronounced his name correctly there. Fabrizio, sorry, I didn't say the Z. I was like Fabrizio. Fabrizio Romano has just announced that Villarreal are closing in on a deal to sign Gonzalo Guedes from Wolves. Benfica have 100% decided to terminate the loan deal. He's free to join Villarreal. Just thought I would let you know that, Ryan, because you're always in the chat and you're a good guy. And whenever I put the league table up, you'll notice that I always scroll down to 11th just so I can get Wolverhampton Wanderers in there just for you. Will, just the last bit on this. I do want to wrap up the show in a minute before we do it, Steph. It is strange, isn't it? We've got our youth teams are performing really, really well. And everyone keeps telling me that, I'm not going to use Mikey Moore because he really is a baby, isn't he? But, everyone keeps telling me that William, I'm going to let you slide with this once. Please do not be bringing up things like this. There's no need. It's done. It's dusted. Please do not bring anything up about my wife on stream. Please, I'm asking very calmly and very nicely.
Privately about private stuff, guys. If it's private
message
stuff,
me privately. Don't message me privately. It's fine. There's no issue. Will, sorry about this. Everyone talks about the youth teams. Donnelly, look at these goals he scores. Look at Judson Sotbell, Santiago, Dorrington. You've got Phillips, you've got Felice. We're still constantly linked with people going, I'd love Hackney, I'd love Wharton, I'd love Jonathan Rowe. What are we doing with our academy if we then need to go and buy players from Blackburn's academy and Middlesbrough's academy and Norwich's academy? Why are we not giving any of ours a go rather than spending our transfer budget on them?
Because they're not good enough. I mean, look, our academy's in shambles. Literally one of the least productive academies in not even in Europe, but just in football in general. I mean, I'm sorry, but FC Dallas has produced more Champions League starters than our club has. and it's an MLS club out of the United States. So take that for what you want.
Who have they brought through?
McKinney, Adams, lots of different guys.
Who's the
So-
wing back at Fulham? He looks all right.
He's
Robinson.
actually came up through the British system, but
Oh, okay.
Andy Robson. Okay, so you think it's just a quality thing from within, yeah?
I disagree with this one, Will. I think the quality is there, but it needs to be nurtured. Like Harry Kane.
where's the quality? Name one player coming out of our academy that plays for a top 4 European side.
A number of the players from the under-21 squad.
Besides Harry
Santiago.
Kane,
Santiago
name one
is a top
player
player.
who plays for
Santiago,
who plays for what top 4?
Charlie Sawyers as a centre back, and also Dorrington. For me, but this is
Marcus
Which
Edwards
one
count?
plays for a top 4 European side?
What's the top 4 European side?
they're at Spurs, so how can they be a top 4 European side?
Yeah, but we've sold out of our academy, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Can you name players that we've brought up
right.
for our academy that have moved on and are playing top
Marcus
level?
Edwards at Sporting Lisbon's probably the only one really that comes to mind. Who's the guy that's at Chelsea now? Makande?
And
What's his
Madwiki.
name?
Oh, they're
Madwiki?
10th. They're 9th. They're
Yeah,
9th.
Chelsea's a
yeah.
pretty good club though.
Yeah.
I think for me the issue at Spurs is this: the academy players are good enough. Like when Harry Kane first came out of the academy, a lot of us were writing off saying, "Look, come on, he's not good enough. What is this?" He went on a couple of loans, came back, and eventually someone just put faith in him. Tim Sherwood, against the owners, said, "No, keep him. I'm the manager. I start him. If you don't want Harry Kane to start, then you come and manage the team." They said, "No, Tim, sorry." And because they were going to sell him to Leicester for like 600 grand. But he stuck by Kane. And with a bit of luck as well, Emmanuel Adebayor was a rebel. Everyone was turning against him. Soldado was just didn't work out. Kane took that opportunity and stepped up. But it took a couple of years of him being in and out of the first team going on loan. We don't integrate the youngsters. Like I've always said this, you never know if a young player is really going to be good enough unless you give them a chance and proper minutes and proper games. And then you can begin to make an assessment.
You got to be good enough to get that chance.
Yeah, but Harry Kane, when he came in, Will, looked rubbish.
Yeah, but
And this is what I'm
look,
saying.
you're using a once in a generation example as the norm, and that's not the case, right? Just because
No, but that's the only
happened to
time we've
Harry
done it,
Kane-
Will. But Will, that's the only time we've done it. The only
No,
other time.
other academy players have gotten chances. Skip's getting chances. Winks is getting chances, and where are they at?
You know, I hear. What
Hey,
you're
don't
saying.
you talk about Ollie Skip like that. That's a future
Yeah,
Spurs
Will,
captain, generational midfielder right there.
I hear what you're saying, but here's the funny thing: Skip and Winks all got minutes under Mourinho, under Conte, under this guy. So, like, obviously, Winks got sold as part of the Maddison deal. But my point is, they don't all have to turn out like Skip and Winks. There is another Harry Kane, Maddison level player in the club, but because they don't ever get the opportunity, that opportunity gets eaten up by the Sessegnons and the Brennan Johnsons and Skip, who we should probably move on. And we bring in a Timo Werner. Like
There is no Harry Kane in our academy right
no, Will. I'm talking about a level of player that we can say this is a really good player. That's what I mean by that. Not someone like Harry Kane exactly.
now. No, I'm saying
But the
there's
problem
no
is-
one in our academy right now who, in 5 years,
You
will
don't
be
know
at
that
the
because they
top
haven't had the
position.
chance.
No, I do know.
You
that.
don't know that. No,
I
you
do
don't
know
because
that.
they haven't had the chance. Will. How
I
can
do
you
know
know that? No, you don't.
Because there
What
is
aca-
no player in our academy who, in the next 4
What
or 5
academy
years, is
player
going to
has
be
been
the
given
most
10
elite
games?
player in their position.
What academy player from our current under 21s has been given 10 games in the starting 11 at Spurs? None of them. So you don't know that. None of us know it. That's my
Well,
point.
Will
We're
does.
not giving them that
I
chance.
do know that.
You hope, you believe that, which is fair enough.
No,
But
I
also-
know it.
No,
Right?
you don't. You
You
believe
can't
it.
know something that hasn't happened yet. That's fact.
But by the way, can I just chuck a different angle
I
in this?
know that a rock will not turn into a squirrel in 5 years.
Yeah, but hang on. Can I chuck a
Different
different angle into
context.
this? Not every young player that comes out of a team needs to be a Harry Kane. Harry Kane is for me is the complete wrong benchmark because he is the word generational. You know the word generational that's used for every young player that scores.
It could be an
a goal or
Adogi
two?
has,
right?
Savva. It could be an Adogi. It could be another.
Yeah.
It could be an Adogi level player.
It could just be a solid Premier. Right. Look at Liverpool. Curtis Jones. what a solid Premier League midfielder that is. Really good young player. Not the best in the world. Always does a job for Liverpool. That's what you want to be bringing through. Players like that come in, no problem. Klopp has no problem starting him in massive games, does a job, and everyone at Liverpool loves him. But if I said to you, he's one of the best players, no, everyone will go, no, he's not. That's what I think the clubs need to be looking at bringing through. Solid, established Premier League footballers. If you get a Harry Kane along the way, fantastic. But how many Spurs, we said this the other day, Stel, in 33 years, or how long's the Premier League been going? Sorry, since 92? 93?
Yeah.
92. So in 32 years, Spurs have produced, sorry, people are going to shout at me and hate me. Spurs have produced 3 generational footballers. Harry Kane, Ledley King, and Sol Campbell. Sorry, true, right? We've produced 3 in 30 years.
Well, Cole Walker.
We can't even
didn't produce Cole
Brendan
Walker.
Johnson.
We didn't produce
Sheffield
No,
United.
Cole Walker came from Sheffield United.
But we brought him into the
we can't
academy
even
at 16,
produce-
didn't we?
guys,
No,
we can't even
no.
produce-
He played for Sheffield United's first team.
We cannot
fair
even
enough.
produce a Brendan Johnson.
I agree, but none of the youngsters are even getting, like, I've watched, let's say, right, in the last 10 games, we'll use it since we've had all the injuries. We've watched Brian Hill get plenty of minutes. I'm not saying he's had 90 minutes, but we've watched him have plenty of minutes, right? I've watched Brendan Johnson have loads and loads of game time. We've seen Valise have game time, right? I've watched Ollie Skip have game time. Are we saying that none of our kids could have put in a shift equal to
Yes.
or that tiny bit better than Valise, Hill, Brendan Johnson, and Skip?
Yes.
How do you know? I fail to
Because
believe
the manager
that at all.
watches these. Look, we're all football fans. We've all, Stel, you're a coach. I've coached. Savva, you've scouted. Maybe you've coached. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But let's think about this for a second. When you're watching a guy at training every single day, and a lot of these youth players have been training with the first team for a long time. We know that. It's been reported, pictures taken, etc.
Sorry.
If you're the manager and you're going to play the game on the weekend and you want to win, and you're looking there at training and you see the academy player, and then you see Brian Hill, and the academy player's playing better than Brian Hill in training, are you going to go there on the weekend and put Brian Hill on the bench? No, you're not.
You're absolutely right, Will. However, and this is where I'm at a conflict with myself, because I agree with you. However, when you're 4-0 up against a depleting Newcastle that's got no subs at home, the game's done, there's 20, 25 minutes to go. Why can't we say to 2 academy players on the bench, you're going to get 25 minutes. I believe in you. Go make a name for yourself. And if you do, you start the next game or you play more minutes next game. We didn't even do that. The only player we brought on was Højbjerg. So when the pressure's off, like we've beaten Newcastle, we've thrashed them. They're not going to come back. They've got nobody to come off the bench. Trippier's having a nightmare. They've run out of steam. That's the moment where you say, do you know what? I know you might not be ready, but here's minutes. Surprise me. You don't even do that.
Can I give you just a little anecdote, right? Just a little anecdote. And I don't know how much people will believe this or whatever, but when I worked for Charlton, right, was during the Alan Kirbishley era. And Alan Kirbishley was sitting in the office one day and someone turned around and said to him from the academy, it's like, look, you've been talking about, God, I can't even remember who it was at the time. It wasn't Scotty Parker. It was someone, it might have been Scotty Parker. It was someone like, you got to give this boy a game. And he said, I can't. And then he said, why? He went, look, you've got a pecking order. He went, I've got all of these players that are on big money for Charlton. I've got all these players who are on big money. If I drop one of the senior pros to put in one of these kids, he went, I've then got an annoyed footballer knocking on my door. I've got his agent knocking on my door. He said, and it gives me a headache for next week that I don't need just for the sake of giving a player 25 minutes game at the end of it. So he said, I need to be down to the bare bones before I even think about it. And it was at that point, that's where I started thinking football about pecking orders. And you can see it from our substitutions, the pecking orders. You knew it in these games gone. You knew that it was going to be Royale coming on. You knew it was going to be skipping those games coming on.
We're down to bare bones. We could have made 5 subs and we're only making 3.
No, bare bones, because he's still playing like this is where I disagree with you, Will. I don't believe that if you gave Donnelly the 20 minutes you gave Brian Hill, I don't know what harm that does to a football team. Or Santiago.
I don't think it would
know
do any harm. I'm just saying I don't think that the manager thinks he's as good as Brian Hill.
Yeah, look, listen, I'm not completely doubting that, but if that's the case, it's a real sad indictment of our academy, isn't it? It's
Yes,
a real
that's the
sad
point.
indictment.
I think the argument
Chelsea are a mess. Chelsea are a mess, right? They're bringing on this young lad every game. Have you seen him coming on every
Manchester
game at right back?
United's a mess. They're bringing on
Gilchrist.
their young 18-year-olds.
Right. Kobe Mainoo's playing central midfield for Man United every game at the moment. They're in a mess. We aren't in a massive mess. And we can't even when we were 4-0 up at home to Newcastle, with Romero on a yellow card, with 10 minutes to go, we couldn't say Dorrington, who was on the bench that game, go on. 10 minutes, 4-0 up at home. You're not losing the game because you put on a 19-year-old centre-half. We couldn't even do that. And I don't know. I'm not saying Postecoglou's right or wrong.
I think what Savva's trying to ultimately say, it doesn't matter about how talented you are. If there's a pecking order, there's a pecking order. You could be the next bloody Messi.
I understand pecking order.
If there's a pecking order, then you're not coming on.
But when we're in the point now where we are now, where if you looked at our bench in our last game that we played, right, against Manchester United, and you need to make a sub, if the kid is like, say there's a pecking order, but this kid is better than. That this kid is better than the guy who's above him in the pecking order. Now, you've only made 3 subs, right? You can bring on this kid to help make an impact. It doesn't affect the pecking order because we have no one else. He's the guy on the bench. He's the next one to come on. Why don't you bring him on then? If he's good enough, but not in the pecking order. You can make 5. You only made 3. He doesn't come on because the manager thinks he's not good enough.
Yeah, sure. Look. I do ultimately think you're right, though, Will. Look, the manager's there with these players. I just think it's a real sad indictment of our youth team that everyone's raving about. First of all, I don't know how everyone raves. You know, when they go, "Oh my God, this guy is awesome," and you're like, "Hang on, how many minutes have you seen?" But if we're getting to the stage where we're going, we've got to sign a Hayden Hackney. Actually, sod that. Forget the ones that we're linked with. We did it. We went and signed Phillips when you had a Dorrington. Plus the youngster who's coming in a couple of years. What's his name? Viscovic, right?
Vukovic, yeah.
So we went and signed Phillips when we had them. So that tells you that he couldn't have rated them. We went and signed Valise when you already had Scarlett, Donnelly, Santiago, Judson Sotbell, and Will Lancashire. Right? There's 5 young forwards there, and he went and signed Valise. So it doesn't scream of promise, does it, for our youth team? That I suppose that's the point of this conversation. It doesn't really fill us with hope that there's any of those that are going to make it, does it?
If do you know when I go down to the Spurs Academy and I bump into parents that I've known for years whose kids are in the academy and we have a catch up, do you know, I always say to them, and I shouldn't say this publicly, but I always say to them, if your son is told the position he's going to play, because they don't really give him a position till they're 16 to 18. That's when you master a position. You play multiple roles till then. If your son's going to be in a position, let's say, for example, centre-back, and we've got Romero, Van der Ven, Ashley Phillips is now in the team, and Dragusin, and your son's going to be centre-back, take your CV of being coached at Spurs and the games your son's played in and leave the club. Like, go and have a career in this game. Don't let your son rot at this club. I actually say that to parents at Spurs who I know, because I know they're not going to get that look in. And I shouldn't say this. I might get into trouble if anyone that
but it's
knows me at Spurs.
True.
But I'm being honest with you, because we just don't give them that opportunity ever. And I think Daniel Levy should stop making statements about how we've lost our way. We need to go back to our ethos. We want to be on the front foot, entertaining football, bringing players through the academy. It's a nonsense. We don't bring players through the academy, Will. We never do it.
Yeah, look, for all the people that are, and I understand, right? I don't have an accent, or I have an accent for you guys. I don't have an accent for myself, but I have an accent for you guys.
I thought you were from South London.
Yeah, you know, it's my Cockney accent. It's getting out of control. But but my point is trying to make. Let me give you a little bit of an anecdote. Right? Sometimes things happen. Right? A player slips through the crack, or you have a coach or a manager, a youth coach or a manager that doesn't recognize something, and weird things happen. Like just recently, just as an individual anecdote from me and my son. My son plays at a very high level in the United States, the second highest level possible for youth players in the United States. He goes tries out for his high school team, which high school team is usually like a step down below club. Goes to the first day of tryouts, doesn't even get called back for the second day. Doesn't even get called back. They played a couple hours of 3v3. Doesn't even make the list to come back on the second day. He goes to tryouts this year. First day of tryouts, goes to the tryouts. The second day he's sick, he misses it, doesn't make the list again. I tell him, go. Just go to the tryout. Just show up. You're not on the list. Just go. Right? You missed yesterday because you were sick. You know, had a sore throat, headache, fever. So just go. He shows up. He asks the coach, I was sick yesterday. Can I play today? And the guy's like, you're not really supposed to be here, but all right. Right? Because you missed yesterday, I'll give you a shot. Puts him in midfield instead of playing striker, which he's not a striker, he's a midfielder. Scores 5 goals from midfield, and the coach says, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I cut you last year. Sorry I cut you this year. I didn't know you were that good of a player. Right? And now he's on the team. Things can happen. Mistakes can happen where a person that should be there isn't there. I grant that. There may be people in the academy who should be there that aren't. And for whatever reason, they're slipping through the crack. But it's down to that player. It was down to Harry Kane when he came on under Tim Sherwood to make himself be Harry Kane. Right? It was down to my son sticking himself into a tryout that he shouldn't even have been
on, Will.
But that's it. Yeah, I was going to say, but so you admit that you have to get. I'm not saying every youngster should get a chance, but you have to get a chance. I agree. The team. I do hear you. Look, guys and girls,
the bench was full of academy players. The last game. It was full of them. Against Newcastle. We had
right, but I'm saying he's got to be in the coach's office. He's got to be doing something to get there, right? Like you got to
against Newcastle, we had a bench full of academy players. They're there. Why are you on the bench then?
One came on for like 5 minutes at the end. So
look, guys, some really, really great football chat there. And the chat in the main has been very well behaved. So thank you very much to everyone. What I will say, a couple of bits of news to finish on. Sky Sports News have just broken that apparently Calvin Phillips has got in talks with Juve, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Newcastle. So Calvin Phillips. Listen, Calvin Phillips has got suitors. So just to let you know that. And in news in the last hour, Steven Gerrard has just signed a new long-term contract with El Ettifaq.
Wouldn't you for 65 million? Wouldn't you for 65 million pounds a day?
Well, I mean, I don't think they've won a game for like 3 months or so. But hey, listen, that's just some football news. By the way, Romano is popping off with news tonight. It looks like some clubs now across Europe are starting to realise that there's only 12, 13 days left of the window. And one rumour going around is that Leeds United are considering a permanent bid for Joe Rodon in this window. They're worried.
Great, He's done great.
That's his level. Really that's his level, right? For me, stay in the Championship, play 40 games a season, play week in, week out, and live your life. Don't sit on the bench at Spurs. Guys, listen, much love, Haas. Great to have you back. Hope you enjoyed your holiday, but thanks very much for coming on, and I'll see you tomorrow at your place of work.
Thank you.
That sounds stalkery, but you know what I mean. I'll see you tomorrow.
No, it's cool.
I'll be peeking through the window. Will, thanks so much for coming. 8, 8:30, it doesn't matter. They're just times, right? They're just numbers.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Yeah,
I'll be going to, and when I go to London, I'm going to go shop at Harrods. Not Harrods. Not TK Maxx either.
Yeah, and if you are going to shop in Harrods, make sure you bring some form of credit card that's got a massive budget on it. Just a massive budget. Stel, thanks so much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate your time. Some great insight from everyone there, so thank you. By the way, I have just...
come to my channel afterwards, people. We've got a show going live now on Tottenham Away, so come join us if you're free.
And you know what? If Stel hadn't have interrupted me, I was about to say, I've just
sorry.
redirected you all to Tottenham Away. So please get over there now. Much love. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscribers. Thank you for all the super chats, even the funny ones that were designed to try and wind up Will and Stel. I think all the super chats tonight were to wind up Will and Stel. So thanks, everyone. Take care. And hang on, hang on, did I just see someone in the chat who I think hates me? I did just see Chris. Frank. Hello, are we friends again? Hang on, Chris, are we friends again? I know that you weren't very happy with me for a while, so hopefully we're good again. Hope you're well, my friend, and hopefully look forward to seeing you in the chat more. Take care, everyone. Much love, and as always, come on, you Spurs.